see the rotation. And what we're looking at is inbound and outbound velocities and a couplet. May not be quite as tight as it was earlier, but this is the storm we're tracking. This is what has prompted a tornado warning. And again, hopefully in time, as we go later this evening, we're hoping we see a slow weakening trend in some of these. But right now, it's a higher impact for some of these severe storms, capable of producing some isolated tornadoes that's moving into Fentress County and up on the Cumberland Plateau. So again, from Wilder, Clark Range, Allert, again, want you to be in your safe place in the southern half of Fentress County for at least the potential for damaging winds. That's the velocity. Now, don't see a whole lot of hail potential right now. There could be some hail and very heavy rainfall embedded within this tornado warning. So again, recapping, tornado warning for Overton, also for Putnam counties, just south of Livingston, just north of Monterey, right here. Again, this is the storm that's rotating, and it's what we call a bounded weak echo region. It's wrapped in rain. So yeah, it's sometimes you see a clear hook or C, or if you will, and a comma. And so a lot of times you'll see that where you have a little bit of not much rain. But again, this is wrapped around in all rain. So we have the inflow notch right here, but it's hard to see that inflow notch because of all the rain. That's especially at night. That's why sometimes tornadic storms can be more dangerous, because you can't really see them. So that's what we're looking at. This is the storm that has some rotation, and it has very heavy rainfall and likely contains some damage and winds. Tornado warning until 7:15. Again, Cumberland, Fentress, Overton, and Putnam counties. This is the tornado warning that just issued. We're going to continue to keep an eye on this storm. Now, meanwhile, I mentioned another tornado warning up in Kentucky, and just a wider view for you real quick. We just had some scattered showers in the valley. It's 7:48 Eastern time right now, 6:48 Central. We're expecting storms to be rolling in the valley closer to about 9 p.m., 8:30, 9, maybe 9:30, closer to 10 p.m. for other parts of the valley. And we're going to keep an eye on some of these storms could pack a punch. Let's go ahead and go up in Kentucky. Numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. Any one of these storms could be severe, and we have seen signs of rotation. So the very latest for you in Harlan County, and right now Moselle, and just east of Moselle. Now this has a little bit of a better notch that's a little bit more defined. So this is in far northern Harlan County, on the fringe of our viewing area. But nonetheless, if you can see us right now in Kentucky, you need to take cover from this storm. Moselle to Pine Mountain. This will be heading toward Cumberland in far eastern Kentucky as well. And again, further south, this is down into Bell County. You got Wallens, Kaywood, Everts, and up into Harlan County, Kentucky. Right there, there's a new tornado warning. See this cell right here? And Cass, if you're right there, we may go back to the west or left just a little bit for Knox County, Kentucky. Now, folks, real quick on social media, quick PSA. If you see a tornado warning, be sure to look at the cities and where it's located. If you see a Knox County and Laurel County and Whitley County, that's in Kentucky, not Tennessee. Okay, so read that out on the social media and pay attention to that. Here's a look. This storm has a decent couplet. Brand new tornado warning, and that's going to be in place from Barberville and moving to the east pretty quickly. So DeWitt, Walker, Scaff, Mission School, Taylor School, these may or may not still be there. It's an old database. But otherwise, we are looking at, again, some of the Sailor in 28 minutes. So if you live in the northern portions of Knox County, Kentucky, again, near Barberville and just to the north, and this is 25E right here that runs from Pineville to Corbin. So again, tracking just to the north and east of 25E, northern sections of Knox County, Kentucky, you need to be in your safe place and take cover. Cass, if you want to go ahead and let's loop that over the last hour. That does have a decent couplet. Looks like it's tightening up a little bit. And so this is the storm that we're continuing to track as it's tracking on to the east. And again, we're looking at velocities here, and a lot of these different storms. And there's the latest scan. This is the Jackson, Kentucky radar, so it's got a pretty good eye on it, and that's a look at the storm right there. Again, we talked about that inflow notch. It's a little bit more defined with this particular storm, and we're going to go back to Fentress County in a moment. Multiple tracking, several different tornado warnings. We'll go back and forth. Again, if you're watching us, just tuning in, Fentress County, Clark Range, be in your safe place. Tornado warning until 7:15 Central Time. We'll get you back to that in a moment. Here's the Harlan County storm, and more of the storms, thank you, Cass. That's just back to the west of Williamsburg. And let's come on back down and onto the Plateau and Fentress County. Again, this is south of Jamestown. It's right near Clark Range, Wilder, Allert, again, the southern half of Fentress County, and may clip the far northern portions of Cumberland County. So right in this area right here, Cassie Nall and the Weather Center doing a storm track. So we've got Grimsley, should have mentioned Grimsley for you a moment ago, apologies, but that will continue to track in your area just moments away. So your safe place is the lowest floor of a sturdy home or building. If you're in a mobile home, we recommend trying to get into a more sturdy building or structure if you can, if it doesn't have the tie downs, and certainly seek shelter in a safe place. If you're in Fentress County right now, that's the recommendation. And again, the lowest floor, a small bathroom, hallway, or closet away from the outer walls and windows is the best place to be. If you have a basement, that's the best place, storm shelter. If you don't have a basement, lowest floor, middle part of your home. And again, it's just always good to know where you'll go whenever severe weather develops. You know, we're still in winter, but moving in the spring season, so we have these storms from time to time. So you need to know what to do so you can act quickly to get into your safe place when storms impact your area. Again, right now, there's a look at that storm system. It does have rotation, and we'll take another look at the velocity. You can see it rotating right there. And that's what storms do. Matter of fact, what was interesting, it looks like another little leading edge of a storm that may be peeling off of that one. So, you know, we'll go ahead and say heads up for northern Morgan County, including around Sunbright, and perhaps toward Lansing as well. We're going to keep an eye on that, as well as far northern Morgan County and Rugby. Again, if you're watching this downstream, Scott County, Morgan County, perhaps eventually Anderson and Campbell. Again, this is the one storm we've been tracking ever since it went just past Nashville, moving to the east. So it's had a history of rotation and potentially some tornadic development, and again, kind of oscillating up and down. So that's a look at that storm right there. Again, we'll check out the velocity scan now on this particular storm as it continues to track on to the east. As I mentioned, that tornado warning till 7:15 Central. Right now, and we're switching radars from Nashville coming into Morristown here as well. Thank you, Cass. That's the Nashville radar. And there's a look at that rotation right there. Fairly broad, but near Clark Range, maybe just a smidge north. Again, we're talking about also Highway 127 that continues to track up into Fentress County. So crossing over Highway 127 into the southern half and southern Fentress County, will be tracking into Morgan County shortly. Far northern Cumberland County, you could be getting clipped by some potentially damaging outflow winds as well. Jamestown, it looks like this storm is mainly to your south. The core of it is, obviously. But again, you can still see some stronger winds in the outflow. And so that's a look at this tornado warning. Actually, thank you, Cass. Yep. Just issued, Morgan County. So, National Weather Service in Morristown, by the way, covers Scott and Morgan counties because it's in the eastern time zone. Fentress and Cumberland counties, you're covered by Nashville because it's in the central time zone. If you ever wonder, well, there's different weather service offices. So, we got a handoff from Nashville, just handed off to Morristown. So, tornado warning for Fentress County. Now for Morgan County, from Central Time to Eastern Time. So here's the storm in Morgan County. We mentioned some of the cities a moment ago. Cass, if you want to push in just a little bit, we mentioned Rugby, also Sunbright, Lansing. There's Sunbright right here, and again down toward Highway 62 as well, Highway 27. So we got Highway 127 where the tornadic storm, potential tornado is, with some severe thunderstorm winds right now, near and just north of Clark Range. And then we got Highway 27 into Morgan County, and in between Highway 62 that takes you from Clark Range and heading over toward Wartburg. So all areas in between 127 and 27 from Fentress to Morgan counties. Again, that's where this potentially tornadic storm will be tracking to the east. Here's a look at our local storm track. And again, right now Clark Range pretty much near and just a smidge north of Clark Range right now. Potentially damaging winds. And again, here's what we want to stress. It's radar indicated, but whether it's on the ground or not, it's capable of producing damaging wind gusts. So whenever we have a tornado warning or even a severe thunderstorm warning, you need to act and certainly move to your safe place and be inside out of harm's way. So take action and get into your safe place whenever we have a severe storm, whether it be a tornado or severe thunderstorm warning. And again, even if it's not even on the ground, maybe it's a funnel cloud aloft, maybe it's going back and forth, it has the potential to produce some damaging wind gusts. So that's why we want you to be safe and in your sturdy shelter and away from outer walls and windows, lowest floor, small interior room. Okay, we just hopped back up into Kentucky. We have that tornado warning for Harlan County, Kentucky. And again, I know it's a lot on radar, but here's a look at this potential. This is a tornadic signature, a couplet, and that's the potential tornado that we're continuing to track. Another one just behind that, again, a lot of different cells rotating, and yet here's another one across. This is the one that's moving, continuing out of Harlan County, Kentucky, into the rest of eastern Kentucky, tracking to the east. Looks like that's opening up a little bit. A lot of times the storms, they oscillate, they breathe, kind of inhale, exhale, pulse up, pulse down, you know, tighten up their circulation sometimes, and then broaden and weaken. So you see that in and out, kind of like a xylophone, you know, just kind of the accordion, if we will, just kind of in and out description of some of these storms, the way they behave as far as the wind goes. So there's a look at 3 different cells that have that inflow outflow and some of those tightening circulations. In some cases, that looks like the stronger one is in Knox County, Kentucky, and just north of Bell County, north of Pineville, just to the east of Barberville now, tracking in eastern Knox County, Kentucky, and northern sections of Bell County, about to move back into Harlan County, Kentucky. So again, some of these cells do have that distinct possibility of rotation. Again, 1, 2, and 3 different ones. This is all in southeast Kentucky. And so again, it's a very active night. What is driving these potential tornadic storms? A strong low-level jet ahead of a strong cold front. So we got some really strong winds just off the Earth's surface above our heads. And where a storm gets enough vertical development, gets tall enough, it can tap into those surface winds coming up, make a connection, and that's where you can have a possibility of a funnel that drops down when it tightens up its circulation. So this is the broader view. Thank you, Cassie, is in the Weather Center. Cassie and I tracking the storms. Again, where you see a yellow polygon, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. Where you see a red polygon, that is a tornado warning. Again, either one could do damage. Obviously, a tornado has more capable energy and potentially stronger winds. So obviously, that gets a lot of our attention, like it always does. But that's a look at the latest tornado warning coming in from Fentress, Cumberland, now into Morgan County. And that tornado warning for Morgan County will be in place, I believe it's till 8:15. Here's a look at, thank you, Cass. This actually just expanded. This is an update from the Storm Prediction Center. Earlier tonight, you probably saw we were tracking and showing the severe risk came just about to Knoxville, back to Crossville in Middle Tennessee. Well, storms are moving east, so the threat risk area is going with the storms, but actually they have upgraded and moved this slight risk area further to the east. So this is going to include most of the Central Valley, and we have a level 2 out of 5. So again, it's still on the lower end of the scale, but obviously since we're tracking severe weather and the atmosphere has already given us a strong clue that it has the potential of producing not only severe storms, possibility of rotating thunderstorms and tornadoes, they have kind of upgraded and extended that slight risk area. So a severe thunderstorm watch is in place until midnight. That is another change and update from just a little while ago. Again, Storm Prediction Center issuing a severe thunderstorm watch. Now, we are within the severe thunderstorm watch. There can be some isolated tornadoes. The greatest risk area is still where we're seeing on the plateau up into Kentucky. And hopefully that threat will slowly lessen in time. But here are the potential impacts. Power outages, maybe some downed trees. Damaging winds is still the main threat from any severe storm that we see developing. Heavy rainfall is also one of the primary impacts and could have some localized flooding. Notice the descriptor here, north of Interstate 40. Already seeing a lot of heavy rainfall and some strong storms over the last several days, but also earlier this morning in Kentucky, some parts of Kentucky last night, this morning saw 2 to 3 inches of rain. So flooding will be possible across northern half of our region. Now, the tornado threat, again, it's not zero. It's on the lower end, but it's still possible. Some isolated tornadoes possible. We could see up to quarter-size hail in some of those taller, mature storms as we go through this evening. So that's kind of an update. Here's a look at our high-res model. From right now, it's 8 o'clock Eastern time to 9 p.m. Notice this line and this batch of strong to severe storms off the plateau and in Kentucky. Again, I can't stress this enough. Avoid floodwaters too. Not only in addition to the severe weather, flooding could be an issue. These storms are dropping some heavy rainfall, and you're covered up right now in Kentucky. So in this mountainous region, watch out for high water. If you live in a flood-prone area, be prepared to move to some higher ground. Again, these are over 1 inch per hour rainfall rates that some of these storms dropping. So I want to emphasize that, not only severe threat, but flooding threat for Kentucky. Again, this is 9 p.m. And that severe threat does move off the plateau in the valley. And then as we go from 9, 10 to 11 p.m. This is 11 p.m. Notice the storms are tracking through the valley and now continue to move into the southern and eastern parts of the East Tennessee and Channel 10 viewing area as we get into the mountains. So basically from Athens to Maryville to Dandridge, Newport to Greenville, that 10 to 11 p.m. Once we get past midnight, these storms pretty much going to be out of here, at least midnight to 1 a.m. So the good news, good sleeping weather ahead, and the storms will be out of here. But between right now and at least 11 p.m., maybe midnight in far eastern areas, but over the next at least 3, maybe 4 hours, we're tracking storms and severe weather. Let's reset. Let's come back to our main radar locally and give you an update on what we're seeing. Again, we have some tornado warnings again in place. That does include portions of the Cumberland Plateau, including Fentress County into Morgan County, and we also have those tornado warnings for parts of southeast Kentucky. So there's the one for Morgan County. Correction, what I said a moment ago, it's until 8:30. I think I said 8:15. It's until 8:30 for Morgan County, 7:15, about, about 13 more minutes right now for Fentress County and northern Cumberland County. So this is the one storm we'll continue to track. Possibility of damage winds, maybe a tornado with some localized stronger wind gusts there and very heavy rainfall. Look at these storms just covering up McCreary County into Whitley County. Williamsburg, heads up. Whitley City, Pine Knot, Stearns, yeah. You're seeing strong storms right now and severe thunderstorm warnings, even a couple more tornado warnings. We talked about these in Knox County, Kentucky, Bell County, and Harlan County. You're also seeing those severe thunderstorms. Again, that's going to be rocking and rolling up into Black Mountain and Pine Mountain and some of the mountainous terrain. If you're watching this in Southwest Virginia, prepare for strong storms and heavy rain that could lead to flooding. Again, these storms moving into the topographic region that's mountainous runoff. The steeper terrain produces more runoff, and certainly a lot of that leads to a greater risk for flooding when you get into those mountainous terrain areas and steeper terrain. So keep that in mind. Now, otherwise and elsewhere, again, I know we're bringing you long form coverage. We have in our viewing area some tornado warnings with very impactful weather. So anywhere in our viewing area where we have enough signals that there's going to be damage from a possible tornado or severe weather, we're going to continue to bring that coverage. Even though some areas you're not seeing much right now, but you could as we go through this evening. Other areas, including parts of the valley, maybe in the Knoxville area and other areas, could see some severe weather. So that's the reason we're bringing you some of this continuous coverage. And if they weaken, which hopefully they will in time, then we'll get you back to programming as soon as we possibly can. Here's what we're looking at again in Fentress County and Morgan County. There's the rotating storm. So we want you to be in your safe place from Clark Range and heading towards Sunbright, including Lansing, in the western part of Morgan County. And also, again, new storm development will likely be tracking from Morgan County on into Scott County. But this is a look at velocity. We're looking at just the winds here with Doppler radar and potential rotation. I don't see necessarily, it's a broad couplet. It's probably bounded with a lot of rain. And so it doesn't look overly tight right now, but it still could be producing a tornado. And so that's why we do have that tornado warning that's going to continue until 8:30 coming out of Fentress County for Morgan County until 8:30, 7:15 for Fentress County. So that's the latest with the velocity. Again, the slight risk area, elevated area, has been expanded to include just about all the Cumberland Plateau, most of the Central Valley, and it's going to go up into the Morristown, the Lakeway area, Dandridge, and Rogersville. And this is basically between now and midnight. So that severe thunderstorm watch is in place until midnight for just about all of our viewing area. And so that slight risk area, this is the greatest risk area. Now, if you're in Tellico Plains, some other areas that are in the marginal green area, there's a lower risk. It's not zero, it's just less risk compared to the other areas. Yeah, thank you, Cass. Still decent correlation there with these couplets. That was what we're seeing between the Jackson and Morristown radar and the reds, depending on the radar view, I believe that's Jackson. Red is going away from the radar, green is coming toward, and so that's a look at some of that broader couplet right there. A little bit of a hail core showing up within that storm as it continues to track. That's the northern sections of Bell County in Kentucky, and this is coming out of Knox County. So we got Knox County, Bell County, Harlan County, and again, these storms will continue to be tracking across northern Bell into portions of Harlan County in Kentucky. So that's the Kentucky storms, and again, the potential is there for not only the severe weather, but very heavy rainfall and possibility of flooding. Let's come back on the plateau and track that storm storm that's moving out of Fentress County and back into Morgan County. Again, this is the tornado warning. Here we are at 8:06 Eastern time. And so in about 9 minutes, it's going to be expiring for Fentress County as far as the movement. It's moving east at 35 miles per hour. It's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's radar indicated. Now, what does that mean? Well, radar indicated means Doppler radar is indicating a couplet that's showing gate-to-gate shear and enough rotation that they could be producing maybe a funnel cloud, but could be producing a tornado in contact with the ground. That could be the tops of trees, doesn't have to be on the dirt. It could be anything in contact with the ground. That's the definition of tornado warning. Anything above, anything touching the ground is considered a funnel cloud. But that's what we're seeing, that there's a potential for some tornadoes in rotation right now on the Cumberland Plateau. Hopefully in time, we're going to see this trend weakening as now that the sun is set. And again, we hopefully get a little bit more stabilization later on. But that's probably going to take several hours until we see that trend. That's why we're tracking these storms for you right now as they continue to move on in to portions of Fentress County and also Cumberland County. All right, Cassie Nall has been tracking these storms. Thank you, Cass. I'll send it over to you in the Weather Center and tell us what you're seeing right now, Cass.
All right, so I have been keeping an eye on the storm reports that are coming out of the National Weather Service office in Nashville, and they are reporting in Putnam County, some downed trees, some power lines, and also to the northeast of Cookeville in Overton County. We've also got some reports of wind damage in that area, also in the form of downed trees and some power lines with some roadways currently blocked. So while this is a tornado-warned storm, it's important to remember that the winds within the storm are dangerous, whether they are rotating or whether they're coming straight at you as straight line winds. So the important thing to remember with this storm is it is dangerous regardless of what the title is that's on that particular warning. In this case, looking at our velocity scan, this is very broad rotation. Just in general, this entire cell is rotating, and it has been for hours. We looked back at this cell when it was to the northwest of Nashville at 5 p.m. And we looked at it and we said, oh, that one looks like a troublemaker. And here it is. Look at that, 3 hours later, starting to work its way onto the plateau. So this storm, what makes it special at this point is that it is all by itself when it comes to the area that it's in. Notice that it is the only warned storm in all of East Tennessee at this point. And that means that it has its entire environment around it to work with. Nothing is negatively influencing at this point, and it has all of the energy to itself. And so regardless of whether this is actually putting a tornado on the ground or whether it's just producing very strong winds, this is a dangerous storm for those reasons. When you get them isolated like this and broadly rotating, that tells us that this is a healthy storm. There's also a lot of lightning associated with it as well. Typically, when you see the lightning increasing, that shows that the storm is growing or at least maintaining its health. If you see the lightning decreasing, then that tells us that maybe the storm might be weakening. Well, it's moving into a relatively favorable environment to continue this track. So looking out ahead of it, we're looking at Sunbright. Wartburg, you're not technically included in this warning, and it's going to pass right along to the north of your area. It's kind of paralleling 62 right there through Morgan County at this point, about to cross over US 27. But looking ahead from here, southern portions of Scott County, eastern portions of Morgan County, and heads up in Anderson County, southern Campbell County. This storm is likely going to maintain its strength as it heads in that direction, and it does have a history of producing wind damage. Whether that was caused by a tornado or just straight line winds, we'll have to wait and see. The bottom line is, with this storm, you need to take shelter until it passes, because this is a dangerous storm that has a history of producing damage. So let's look at where the strongest winds are currently located. It's where you see the darkest colors right there. I'll go ahead and check out and see if our system can check out what some of these velocities could be at this point. Okay, that's extreme. That's way up high. I just want to preface that is way up high. Not necessarily reaching the surface, but just telling you that this is a very strong storm, like I was saying.
That's a good thing.
Oh, goodness. Surprise live on TV with that one. So the bottom line is, with this broadly rotating cell, as it moves to the east, it could produce wind damage in its path. So looking ahead, it's moving to the east about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So if you're near Deer Lodge Elementary or in Deer Lodge itself, you need to be in your safe place. We haven't talked about this in a long time. This is our first real severe weather that we've had in a while. Your safe place is the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. You want to try to find an interior room where you can put as many walls between you and the exterior as possible. The reason we say that is because a lot of times when you get debris flying around in those strong winds, that can come through the outer walls of a building. So that's what you want. We want you to be in an interior room and on the lowest level of the home in case something affects the upper level. So lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows, as many walls between you and that area as possible. Again, wind damage is a possibility with the storm. Looking ahead, Sunbright, you need to be in your safe place. If you live near Sunbright High School, Emery River Church, or Elizabeth School, Griffith School, or Mahan Village, you need to be taking shelter now in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. Again, this is almost in Deer Lodge at this point for reference in Morgan County. And I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing this warning extended, whether that's as a tornado warning or as a severe thunderstorm warning. Either way, you need to take this storm seriously. And again, it is just now entering western portions of Morgan County. The main portion of that rotation is near the Deer Lodge area, and it's going to be moving to Sunbright very shortly. That is the only warned storm that we have in East Tennessee at this point. However, off to the north, Kentucky, you've had a busy day. You had the storms early this morning, had a little bit of break this afternoon, and now we've got more storms developing up here to the north, including, well, that's going to be one to watch, watching the potential for strong winds that are going to be moving through here. But we still have one storm that has a tornado warning on it. That storm is looks like it's moving into, sometimes it's hard to tell when we got too many things on the radar here. It's moving into northern portions of Bell County at this point, and that's going to be passing through northern portions of Bell County and into Harlan County. Going to be eventually near the South Wallens area in Harlan County in southeast Kentucky. Generally broad rotation, not a tight couplet. But at this point, with everything kind of rotating, the National Weather Service up in Jackson went ahead and issued that as a tornado warning. We also have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings, which just generally tells us that there is a lot of wind energy that can be brought down to the surface with these storms. In addition to the wind threat, we also could be seeing hail up to the size of quarters with any of these warned storms. And in southeast Kentucky and in areas north of I-40 in Tennessee, we have had a lot of rain in the past several days. The ground is still packed pretty hard, kind of frozen because it's been cold. It's still winter. And we don't have that vegetation that would typically absorb some of that as well and slow down the runoff. So the bottom line is we have more runoff this time of year than we would have in, say, the summer months. So when it rains very heavily, you get a better chance of flooding. And since we've already had a lot of rain in these areas in the last couple days, flooding is definitely going to be an increasing concern. If you do not have to be out on the roads right now, please stay home in southeast Kentucky. Between the flood threat, the wind threat, the debris threat on the roads, it's just better to stay in a sturdy building and stay safe until these storms pass. I will say that once this line gets through here, we're done. We're good for the night. But we have another couple of hours for that line to do that. So that's what we're going to be watching. Southeast Kentucky, you're busy now. You got to hang in there for maybe another hour. And then in southeast Kentucky, I think your threat's going to be ending. But in East Tennessee, we have one cell that we're watching right now, that tornado warned cell that is moving out of southern Fentress County. So Fentress County, your warning is still in effect, but you're okay. The warning is now mainly from Morgan County, and we'll see if the National Weather Service office ends up extending this. I'm pretty sure they will, into the rest of Morgan County, into southern Scott County, maybe even over in Anderson and Campbell counties. We'll see. Generally, the storm is still showing just general broad rotation, which means that it's got a lot of wind energy that it can push down to the surface. So as I said, regardless of whether this is a tornado or just a damaging wind event, it's still dangerous. So please take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. As Todd was showing you, we do have the updated outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And I just got another update here from the National Weather Service in Nashville. They have expired the tornado warning that was in Fentress County, so you're good to go there. And we are getting a report of storm damage near Carthage in Smith County. So that's not in our viewing area, but this is the same cell that still has that history of producing that wind damage back there to the west. And let's see. Okay, we're just keeping an eye. Got to read things as we go here. All right, so from the National Weather Service, in addition to the damaging winds and the tornado threat through the evening, there is the potential for the flooding. We're going to keep an eye on that as well. And we don't have an update on the Morgan County storm, but I know that the National Weather Service is going to make a decision about that soon. Looking at our severe risk, for the rest of the night tonight, the areas that you see shaded in yellow right there are a level 2 risk, meaning that you have a slightly higher risk than the level 1 risk that is in the green outside of that. Okay, we're continuing to monitor, just reading some stuff here. from the National Weather Service. No decision yet on the Morgan County storm. This severe weather risk will continue for the next several hours, but we do expect all of this to be out of our area by around midnight tonight. So the good news is we're not talking about an overnight event here, but we do have to pay attention for another couple of hours. And if you are going to be going to bed, and we haven't said that you're in the all clear just yet, make sure you have a way to receive weather alerts and notifications that can wake you up in case a warning is issued so that you can move quickly to your safe place. Our main threats tonight are going to be from the potential for damaging winds that could cause downed trees and possibly some power outages. And then very close second, the potential for flooding. And that's going to be a growing risk, especially for areas north of I-40 because of the ground, as I was mentioning, already being saturated and the extra runoff that comes during the winter season as well. We also do have a chance for quarter-size-ish hail. And again, we can't completely rule out the risk of an isolated tornado, but that is our lowest risk at this point. Here's a look at the futurecast. Now, keep in mind that these models are just trying to get a grasp for what's going on. You can see the current radar, and versus this, the current radar is not nearly as widespread as what this model is showing. So just keep that in mind. There may be less happening than what this model is showing, but get the general gist of it with timing. Any activity that we do have is going to be shifting into our far eastern counties by around 10 to 11 p.m. And then after that point, just general scattered showers, and even those taper off overnight tonight with probably some fog and low clouds early tomorrow morning, but then generally clearing skies. Look at that. That's 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we've got clear skies and sunshine across the area. So the bottom line is you just got to hang in there for another couple hours. Let's take another look at any warnings that we do have, because we are in long form coverage on our TV station in addition to our streaming opportunities here as well. So wide view, still got the tornado warning until 8:30 for Morgan County, the western portions of Morgan County. It looks like the tornado warnings that were issued up in Kentucky have been allowed to expire, so that's good news up there in Kentucky, but you still have a wind threat. And now we're going to need to watch this little line that's developing right along the state line in northern portions of Scott County, McCreary County, and then into northern Campbell and Whitley counties. That's something we're going to need to watch there to see if we end up with a warning in there. Not seeing too much in the way of the wind and not a ton when it comes to the velocity, just the look, the general look of it right there with the increasing lightning has me watching it closely right there. Just move through Pine Knot, and it's going to be moving into near the Saxton area, near Jellicoe, and probably into Elk Valley and Habersham. So heads up in those areas. And Oneida, you might get the tail of it right there. Again, we still have this tornado warning down here that's now near Sunbright. And just looking, wow, broadly at the storm, still a lot of rotation. Yeah, this is the... Hey, and Todd would like to add in now, too.
Yeah. This is the storm that's been watching that rotate. It's tightening up a little bit.
It is.
Southwest, to the southwest of Sunbright. So thank you very much, Cassie Nall. Yeah, just to the southwest of Sunbright, Deer Lodge Highway. Yeah, we got a little bit better signal and rotation developing here. It's a tightening couplet. So we do have that potential tornado that is tracking into north central Morgan County. The warning for Fentress County expiring at 7:15 Central Standard Time, and now continuing to track to the east until 8:30. We have again that tornado warning for Morgan County. So that is the very latest. Also, we have a brand new, we'll get there in a moment, brand new tornado warning for Bell County until 8:45. We'll continue to track that storm. But back to this storm that we're tracking right now. Again, that couplet, it is tightening a little bit just to the south of Sunbright. So between Sunbright and Wartburg, Highway 27. If you live between Sunbright and Wartburg, closer to Sunbright right now, and again, we know about Sunbright. You've had to deal with your share of storms over the years, and parts of Morgan County, which, by the way, Morgan County receives some of the higher numbers of tornado reports in East Tennessee, some of the most. And so it's a favorite area. There is a brand, okay, thank you, Cass. Cassie Nelson there said, watch this. And in 3 seconds, it popped up. Brand new tornado warning. Again, this is for Anderson, Morgan, Roane, and Scott counties until 8:45. So now we're going to be tracking this tornado warning that's coming through Morgan County. National Weather Service in Morristown has a close eye on this. We're seeing the same thing, the rotation, and what we're showing you on air. National Weather Service in Morristown, and certainly has a lot of tools at their disposal, seeing a lot of different things. This storm has had a history of rotation for the past little bit. We also have a new tornado warning up in Kentucky in Bell County. We'll be tracking. 55, moving east at 55? Okay, so this is one of those, it's accelerated. A lot of times tornadic storms, a lot of times they don't move too slow, sometimes they can, but a lot of times they move fast. This is moving east, maybe slightly south of east at 55 miles per hour. So what we just say, it's hauling, it's moving quickly. So you don't have, if you're watching us right now in Morgan County, and again, right now between Sunbright and Wartburg, it's crossing over Highway 27 or about to, again, wrapped in rain, it's the harder to see. You don't want to be out at night anyway, but yeah, you want to be in your safe place indoors. If you live in a mobile home, or certainly we advise more sturdy shelter and structure if you can. If you're watching us downstream, we recommend being in a sturdy home or shelter whenever there's severe weather, not just now, but whenever there's severe weather. But if you can be in that safe structure and out of a trailer or a mobile home into a more sturdy building, if it's a trusted neighbor or friend, family, relative that you could be there with, we'd recommend that. And if you do have, you're in a home right now, the lowest floor, away from outer walls, windows, and doors, center part of the house, a small interior room like a bathroom, hallway, or closet. In the middle part of the house on the lowest floor is the best place to be. If you have a basement, that's ideal. And then wait for the storm to pass. This storm is moving quickly. Look at the cities now. Wartburg, 2 minutes. So basically between Sunbright and Wartburg right now. And again, Central High School in the heart of Wartburg, 5 minutes or less. So again, continuing to track near, maybe a hair north of Wartburg, but close. And then Fork Mountain and other parts of Morgan County. Downstream, it's going to continue to be tracking. We got coming again, Highway 62 down toward Coalfield and Petros, and will continue to move through the heart of Morgan County right now. If it stays on this track, it's likely going to be moving into southern portions of Scott and western Anderson County. This is very mountainous terrain. You got Cross Mountain, of course, Windrock in this area here. So, you know, sometimes mountains help to break up storms a little bit, but right now, again, it's up in Morgan County. It's a little bit of flatter area up on the plateau, and that's why parts of Morgan County sometimes sees more severe weather because of the terrain. It's flatter, by definition, the plateau, right? A little bit flatter on top. And so when you come off the plateau, you start to get in those big hills again, it breaks up the storms a little bit more. So that's what we're seeing in Morgan County. Tighter rotation, Highway 27, right between Sunbright and Wartburg. And we're continuing to track this storm as it moves east. And that's the very latest on that storm. Cass, if you're going up to Kentucky, we have that other tornado warning just being issued for parts of Bell County in Kentucky. And so this is a new warning that's also in place until 8:45. And we're tracking this storm as well. And we'll take you up into Kentucky. I'm going to do a little switching radars here on my feature that we're looking at here. And so this is what we're looking at as far as in Bell County. Again, we do have the potential for that storm also with tighter rotation to the west-northwest of Harlan. Yeah, that's a storm right here. So again, Moselle earlier in far northern sections of Harlan County, you had a tornado warning earlier. Now a new storm that's northeast of Pineville, north of TJ, and to the west of Harlan, Kentucky. And this is continuing to track off pretty swiftly to the east, and will continue to be moving out of Bell County into Harlan County, Kentucky. So that severe tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning with a possible tornado, it's a tornado warning until 8:45, moving into Harlan County, Kentucky. So again, that's another storm that has the potential for damaging winds at the very least. And we talked about this a moment ago, and Cassie Nall reiterated it. Yeah, the heavy rainfall, the flooding threat is certainly going to be there in parts of Kentucky as we go through tonight. And now, if you're watching us in East Tennessee, again, we're tracking some multiple tornadic storms, but this is the main storm right now in Morgan County. This is expected to be a line of storms that's going to be making its way into the rest of East Tennessee between now and 11 p.m. So right now the storms are up on the plateau and up into Kentucky, but we do have that potential for severe weather and these strong storms with heavy rainfall tracking up into Kentucky. All right, Cassie, this is a look at debris potentially showing up, Highway 27. Yeah, we were looking at that earlier. This is correlation coefficient. Cassie, I'll send it over to you and tell us what you're seeing right here. I'll kind of highlight what we're taking a look at right there.
Here, Todd, let me just circle it here real quick. This area right here where you see that brighter yellow crossing over US 27 also coincides with where we're seeing the tightest couplet right now. And that is why this is now a confirmed tornado warning, meaning that correlation coefficient, that yellow and that green right there, that's indicative of debris being lofted into the air. And because we are so far away from the radar, this tells us that that debris is being lofted pretty high at this point. And that unfortunately does mean that damage is occurring on the ground. So that is why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and upgraded this from a tornado warning, which means that a tornado is likely given the conditions, to a confirmed tornado on the ground producing debris. This is along US 27 between Sunbright and Wartburg, where you see that brightest color right there, where we've got the two colors coming together right in this area. It's right near the Lansing area right now. If you are in this area that I'm talking about, you need to be in your safe place immediately. Do not pass go, do not double check, just get in your safe place right now. We have a dangerous storm that is producing a tornado likely on the ground at this point, crossing US 27 between Sunbright and Wartburg right near the Lansing area in Morgan County. Again, because of the correlation coefficient showing us that debris is being lofted into the air, the National Weather Service has confirmed that a tornado is on the ground. This cell is going to continue to the east at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So if you are in the future path of this storm, if you're in Wartburg, you need to be taking shelter right now because you're too close for comfort here. You need to be in your safe place, lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. Wait until this cell passes. If you are east of here, near the Elizabeth School area, Oak Hill School, or looking ahead near Petros High School, Petros Highway, you need to be taking shelter immediately in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. This radar only updates about every 2 to 3 minutes, meaning that this storm is going to jump very quickly. So what you're seeing right now is going to be much farther to the east when the next radar scan comes in. So you do not have time. You need to go in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows right now if you are in Morgan County from the Wartburg area eastward. Looking ahead, this warning does extend into parts of Anderson County and into southern portions of Scott County. Even if the core of the storm passes to your south, you're likely going to get strong to damaging winds. So again, we need you to go to your safe place. Storms like this also can wobble. That's the other key factor here, is you may be looking at it and saying, oh, well, it's going to pass just to my south. Don't take your chances with a just to your south with a possible tornado. New River Highway, also need to be getting into your safe place immediately. This is again into northwestern portions of Anderson County at that point. I'm trying to give you a big heads up here because again, this is a very dangerous storm. We have been tracking this cell for 3.5 hours at this point. It has a history of producing damage, is showing a broad rotation that we have been monitoring for, again, 3.5 hours here. And now that rotation just tightened up. That's the key factor with these type of storms, is they go through a life cycle. They breathe, they take a breath, and the rotation kind of broadens slightly, and then it'll tighten back up, and that's when a tornado can come back down to the ground. And as I was mentioning earlier, with this cell, whether it's a tornado or damaging winds, this is a dangerous storm, and now likely producing a tornado on the ground with the debris signature. The way we can tell right there, it's right near Elizabeth School right now. There's our tightest velocity scan right in this area, and then if I switch over, remember where that is, if I switch over to the correlation coefficient, we have the bright yellows right there, indicative of debris being lofted high into the atmosphere at this point. That's
the confirmation. When radar can indicate that that's there, and now it is seen enough with the Weather Service. Reports of damage also in Cookeville and Putnam County earlier. Several reports of damage north of Cookeville, tree blocking Highway 293, scattered debris, multiple power flashes. So again, unfortunately, there's enough evidence that with that lofted debris and what we're seeing right now, it's just a different product. As Cassie said, Elizabeth School, just to the northeast of Wartburg. It was near Lansing a moment ago, Highway 27 between Lansing, Wartburg, and Sunbright. It's now moving into northeast Morgan County. There's that blue, area and green. There's a look at that rotation right there. Thank you, Cass. And that's going to be tracking from Morgan County and on into portions of Anderson County. So weather impact alert does continue through this evening. We're looking at the possibility of severe storms with isolated tornadoes. Unfortunately, the greatest risk area is and was always going to be on the plateau up to Kentucky, and those are the areas where we've seen the severe weather so far. Now, hopefully, eventually we'll see a weakening trend, but right now, again, and you know this, and if you live in Morgan County, you've had to deal with your share of tornadoes over a period of time. And unfortunately, there's just a favored track coming out of Fentress and Cumberland County into Morgan County, where conditions are right with the southerly inflow comes up, and you've got a lot of energy coming across the plateau. It's flatter up on the plateau, so storms do not like to run into a mountain where they're disrupted, okay? But once they get into a flatter area, open area, they can sustain because they have winds coming in from all different directions and can maintain their intensity. So that's the short version. That's north and east of Wartburg. Again, if you're watching us in far eastern Morgan County, and certainly our thoughts and prayers with everybody, and hopefully everything is okay. If you can safely send us storm reports to newstips@wbir.com. If you have power, you have access to your device and email, etc. But newstips@wbir.com. If you can safely send us some storm reports, and pictures. We don't want you to be out in harm's way, okay? Don't want the storm video or anything like that. Once the storm is passed, if you can safely transmit that information to us, it will help us be able to relay that to our viewers and keep everybody safe. So again, we don't want you to be out in harm's way though, and want you to hunker down and be safe while that storm's tracking through Morgan County. Here's that storm that's right along the Kentucky-Tennessee state line, and that's Campbell up into Campbell County, up into Bell County in Kentucky. So again, moving towards Siler, Saxton, and continuing now to track to the east, right near Jellicoe, I should say, coming up through northern portions of Campbell County. So heads up Jellicoe. Looks like a little bit of a hail core here. May have some potentially damaging wind gusts as the storms pulse up and then they collapse after maturing. And so we're looking at that potential severe weather coming out of southeast Kentucky, right along the Tennessee-Kentucky state line. And you can see it diving to the east-southeast. So there's a look at that wall of heavier showers and storms for you in Campbell County, also northern Scott County, and continuing to track off to the east. And severe thunderstorm warnings now associated with this one. So here's a look at this tag. Thank you, Cass. We've got Claiborne, and that severe thunderstorm warning will come back up in just a second, hopefully, for Claiborne County, and also for Campbell County and Union until 9:15. And so that's a look at that particular severe thunderstorm warning. Again, damage winds will continue to track east-southeast. So from Jellicoe and again over toward Habersham and continuing toward Clearfield and continuing toward Speedwell. So moving into the Powell Valley as you come out of Campbell County into Claiborne County, and as you basically go from around Habersham toward Clearfield, and again to the south in Campbell County, got Follett, Fincastle, and then Speedwell and the Powell Valley, Highway 63. But I would go ahead and say a heads up for Campbell County, also for northern sections of Claiborne County, including over toward Harrogate, LMU campus, and Tazewell, and New Tazewell, and Arthur. These storms will be tracking in your direction as far as severe weather. Again, back to that tornadic thunderstorm, likely a confirmed tornado with lofted debris being shown. There's a look at what's called correlation coefficient. Easy for me to say. But this is a CC product, and it basically is detecting, it's a different type of algorithm. It's detecting a larger type of debris that can be lofted up in the atmosphere. And Doppler radar is doing multiple volumetric scans throughout the atmosphere. And so it's taking all that into account. And when it shows a certain pattern or signal, combined with looking at velocity and other signatures, we're seeing lofted debris. And unfortunately, that's what a tornado does. It takes things off the ground and lofts it up in the air, and miles away it can be deposited. So we saw that signal earlier. The National Weather Service in Morristown is tracking this potential, again, tornadic vortex signature that continues to show signs that it's holding together, tracking through eastern Morgan County to the east-northeast of Wartburg. And this is going to be moving into some really steep terrain, which hopefully that will help to disrupt this tornadic circulation, hopefully. But either way, actually, if it does that, it's going to have collapsing winds. So you can expect probably a lot of damage in trees, some trees down, maybe potential power outages. Even if this storm does start to collapse or weaken, it's going to bring all its wind energy with it as it collapses and takes all of it down. So again, be advised there could be some damage and wind threat either way, and potential power outages as this storm tracks. Maybe that's a little bit of a good sign, maybe a little bit of a broader rotation right there. Cassie's doing the storm track here. Again, we got Fork Mountain, Braidtown, and Rosedale, Tuppertown, Frostbottom, again, we'll be tracking in your neck of the woods to get into Anderson County, Dossett, and the Conestoga Heights and Westwood Estates, some communities that could be impacted as this storm tracks east. Again, it is going to be moving to that really steep terrain here from Morgan, southern portions of Scott, Campbell, and Anderson County, and so hopefully that will help to disrupt the storm. If you're watching us downstream in Knoxville, other parts of East Tennessee, storms have not arrived yet, but we do have the potential for some scattered strong to severe thunderstorms. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight, and also we do have that potential for not only severe weather in some cases, but heavy rainfall, and the two main threats will continue to be damaging winds and some potential flooding rains. Cassie, you mentioned some storm damage being reported a moment ago, and for more information on the storms, I'll send it back over to you.
Hey there, Todd. I was just thinking or tracking the cell, and it is near Frozen Head State Park for a reference of where the strongest winds are currently located at this time. That's that rougher terrain that Todd was just talking about right there. This is going to be dropping down toward the east and the south. Right now, the couplet is weakening. The rotation is broadening, and we also have less of that correlation coefficient showing the possible debris being lofted into the air as well. So that is a sign that the storm may be exhaling. Yeah. And that means that it's just part of the cycle. So we can't let our guard down with the cell just because of what I just said right there. I'm just trying to give you a glimmer of hope if you're out in the path of the storm. If you are along Petros Highway or New River Highway, you need to be taking shelter right now. If you're in the Coalfield area, even down into Oliver Springs, I would go ahead and be in your safe place right now. And looking a little bit farther over to the east, looking ahead to Briceville area, I just saw it pop up right here. Frost Bottom Road over to if you're near Flatwoods School, Dutch Valley Elementary School, Briceville Elementary School, you need to be taking shelter because what this cell is going to do is likely cycle. Like I said, it's going to look broad for a minute, and then it's going to probably tighten back up.
Yeah, yes, and seeing some reports of potential damage reports in Sunbright. Charles Dalton up at the National Weather Service in Morristown had spoke with the Morgan County emergency manager just a minute ago. They were sheltered at Sunbright. Yeah, elementary on the north side of town. Guessing there was a functional game, but the damage perhaps south of Sunbright proper, near or just south of Sunbright. And again, so some of this. Just some of the reports starting to come in that we do have some initial reports of maybe some damage in or just south of Sunbright, Cass.
And we also have pockets of surface-based instability. That basically means that this energy is still there. As I was mentioning, the cell is all by itself. It is the only tornado-warned storm that we have in East Tennessee right now. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for that cell that we were watching up in northern Campbell County that's going to be moving into parts of Claiborne County near the Speedwell area very shortly here. It's right now near Habersham. Those are the only two warned cells, and they're pretty far apart. So because of that, that cell that's moving out of Morgan County right now into western, northwestern portions of Anderson County, it has all the environment around it to work with. It's got all of the energy. It's not fighting with anything or competing with anything else.
Right.
Now, this is going to be a cell that we need to watch because looking ahead where this cell is going, not only is it moving into a continually favorable environment, it's going to be getting into the Clinton area here very shortly near Rocky Top. So you're not technically in the warnings right now, but you're too close for comfort. If you're in the Clinton area, I'd say go ahead and gather your stuff. Go ahead and plan to move to the lowest level of your home away from doors and windows. Coalfield, up near Oliver Springs, Oak Ridge.
Right.
You need to be taking shelter. You are in the tornado warned storm. And looking even farther ahead, Powell, Carnes. If you're hearing your name mentioned and you're in northwest Knox County, you need to be keeping an eye on the storm and probably planning to take shelter as well because this storm there's nothing ahead of it that would cause it to weaken right at this time.
Yeah, and except maybe hopefully some terrain.
Hopefully
terrain helps it, but as Cassie said, there's still a lot of surface-based instability. Hoping that we saw on the velocity scans a moment ago, maybe not quite as tight of a circulation couplet and maybe slight weakening, but yeah, hopefully the terrain will help us out a little bit, and then maybe it won't be quite perhaps as impactful, but either way, it's likely going to be containing some potentially damaging wind gusts. Whether it continues to be a tornadic storm or not, it will likely still be potentially severe. So we're likely looking at severe winds that are continue to roll in. And I'm sure, like earlier at Ocas up on the Plateau, we were like, whoa, some of those winds aloft where it was showing,
100
really,
plus.
Yeah, really strong winds aloft. But some of those strong winds aloft, that's the issue, though. They could still be tapped into and transferred down the surface. So even if the storm is, like we were talking about a minute ago, it hits the steep terrain, it may help to disrupt and break it up a little bit. But all those winds could come collapsing down to the surface. So you're likely going to see, this scenario of trees down and power outages and some severe winds from some of those downbursts. There's the storm reports right there upstream.
From back where the storm was, back when it was near the Cookeville area, those are the storm reports. It takes a minute for these to get in, particularly since this is moving in some cases through more rural parts of Morgan County. And as Todd was just saying, the emergency managers were sheltering in Sunbright High School. Or Sunbright School.
Sunbright, is that what it was?
Sunbright School. They were sheltering.
Sunbright Elementary.
Sunbright Elementary
North
School.
North side of town, yeah.
So obviously it takes a minute to get reports in from that area. But again, the good news is it looks like the rotation is broadening. The National Weather Service is going to drop the confirmed tag that goes with this because of the reasons that we were just talking about, that we're no longer seeing evidence of debris being lofted into the air. So at this point, it is a radar I guess indicated tornado.
Yeah.
Or
you notice
potential.
the color went from purple with the confirmed tornado tag, and it should be back to red if we're tracking
it hasn't gotten out yet, but it's coming. There it is.
Yet. It'll be back a little bit.
There it is. Okay,
yeah.
so they actually extended it.
Yeah,
now
they did extend it.
Okay,
right.
so now this, and by the way, anybody who's at home right now saying it's not affecting me, I want to watch TV, I'm seeing your emails.
Yeah.
This is a very dangerous storm, and we're going to continue to cover it.
Yeah.
Well, you can find your programming. We'll find ways to let you know where your programming was that we were unfortunately covering up tonight.
Yeah, just a quick thing. We have a wide viewing area, so anytime there's a tornadic storm, potential damage and life-threatening damage to folks or property, we've got to cover that in our viewing area.
I know it's not
by
in
regulation,
Knoxville.
So thank you for understanding.
Yeah.
And this is going to be tracking southeast into other areas. So just because you're not seeing those storms right now, you could be impacted by those storms soon. So again, this is not normal. We normally don't go long form coverage unless there's a significant severe storm or tornado. But again, we have to by law do that for our viewers. Keep everybody safe.
And we do apologize for covering up your regularly scheduled programming tonight.
Yeah. We'd rather be eating as well right now and being with you and joining. But
I've got
believe me,
soup that's cold right now. But
I've got chicken pot pie that I'm gonna warm up later.
But as we were saying, this is a very dangerous storm. It is right now cycling on the weaker side of its its life cycle at this point. It's moving directly over Petros Highway, right near Petros High School. That is where we're seeing the potentially tight rotation right there. And as I said, the National Weather Service has dropped the confirmed tag. It's just not out of our system just yet. But that red polygon has now been extended through the rest of Anderson County.
It's now into Knox County, parts of Knox County.
Including the Clinton area, Oak Ridge. As I was mentioning, you guys, now you need to take shelter. You're in that tornado warning. And now it's moving into western portions of Knox County. So as I said, Carnes, Powell, you need to be heading to your safe place there. And this does include parts of West Knoxville all the way out to Oak Ridge Highway, Pellissippi there, and down into the Farragut area, Campbell Station Road. This is a cell that we're going to have to continue to track because it does have the history that it does, and it's still in a favorable environment.
It is. And, and the other thing that, we're hoping that we'll get some disruption from the steep and higher terrain to break up the storm a little bit. But here's the issue. The storm is still mature. It's had a history of rotation, and just because a storm can briefly be disrupted or interrupted, as soon as it moves off of that higher terrain and comes back down through portions of Anderson County. Now, hopefully it will continue a weakening trend in time, but sometimes that weakening trend can just be a pause. It can be brief. It could actually, there's cycling that goes on with tornadic storms. And Cassie was talking about the breathing in and breathing out, the inhale, the exhale, et cetera, like an accordion, going back and forth, back and forth. That's what these storms do. They breathe in and out. But this storm could cycle back up. Man, there's still two more strong couplets up in southeast Kentucky that's continue to track off to the east, northeast. So let's talk about these storms in Kentucky. Again, each one of these are tornadic, potential tornado. We're watching these storms in Harlan County, Kentucky. So Kaywood, again, this is Bell County. It's hard to see, but thank you, Cass. That's the Bell-Harlan County line. So just inside western Harlan County, possible tornado warning. Kaywood just north of you, and again, we'll have to see what road that is, but a tornado warning just north of Kaywood that will be tracking to the east. Again, We have viewers. We have 6 counties we cover in southeast Kentucky. We cover Lee County, Virginia, in the Channel 10 viewing area, and about 26 counties in East Tennessee. So, you know, this is one of those times where not everybody's being affected, but some are. And so, for some, this is their only source of information. Just think about that a half second. That's why we're here. Okay, so there's what we're seeing in Harlan County, again, and another possible rotating storm to the east of Pineville. So take cover in, again, Harlan County. You've had multiple tornado warnings. If you go back to this morning, you had some tornado warnings early this morning as well, some severe weather. So it's been a very impactful day. Heavy rain and flooding also possible in Bell and Harlan counties and other parts of southeast Kentucky. So if you live in a flood-prone area, you got to be prepared to seek higher ground in the mountainous terrain. The steep terrain, heavy rain could lead to rapid flooding and runoff, and that could create some flooding issues. So be prepared to seek higher ground. All right, thank you, Cass, for that trip up into Harlan County, Kentucky. And again, we'll come on back down with the storms now moving through into the Powell Valley out of Campbell County, Habersham, and again through Clearfield, northern sections of Claiborne County into the Powell Valley. These storms can pack a punch. A lot of lightning. You can see that if you're watching right now from Union County, Sharps Chapel. If you're looking to the west-northwest from Tazewell, you're likely seeing that lightning, right? Boy, that's a significant hail core. Could be seeing hail at least a quarter size, perhaps larger. And there's Clearfield right there and Highway 90. And again, the Prudent up in Kentucky. There's Habersham and again, Clearfield, Speedwell. This is Highway 63 in the Powell Valley. And of course, further downstream, we got Cumberland Gap, also, of course, LMU, Habersham, and continuing. That will be tracking in your direction. Now, again, it's moving slightly south of east, so it looks like it's going to be moving through the heart of Claiborne County and then continue to track on into portions of central Claiborne County toward Tazewell and Arthur as well, and also New Tazewell. So we're going to keep an eye on this storm from Campbell County, Claiborne County, and maybe northern Union County. Eventually heads up Granger County if this storm holds together. All right, thank you, Cass. Let's go down into Morgan County again, check in on the tornado warned storm. Again, an extension of that earlier confirmed tornado has now been issued, and this is going to be in place until 9:15. So a tornado warning until 9:15. This includes Anderson, Knox, coming out of Morgan County soon, Roane, and Scott County. So it's in some steeper terrain here that hopefully that's going to help to disrupt it some. But once it comes off that steep terrain, it's got open inflow to the south where the winds can come up, and well, hopefully this won't happen, but it could reorganize, cycle back up. A lot of times, once a tornadic storm has a connection between the surface-based instability and the upper-level winds aloft. Once there's that connection, it moves along. Even though it may weaken, it can strengthen, weaken, and strengthen. That's what tornadic storms do. So even if they weaken a little bit, they could grow again in time because they have that connection between the strong upper-level winds aloft that's feeding the storm and the surface-based instability. So once you have a tornadic circulation and signature and an organized storm that's rotating, it's healthy, it's mature, and it can maintain most of that structure unless it just really gets torn apart by some either cold air, dry air, or steeper terrain. So that's the general nature of tornadic storms. And so it is moving over some of this very high terrain in Anderson County right now. Still has a potential hail core. And so again, Marlowe community, heads up. You could be seeing damaging winds, Briceville, Medford. Again, in the northern parts of Anderson County, hail, heavy rain, and high winds all on the table for you moving into northern Anderson County. Now, it's going to be coming down along 25 from Clinton to Oak Ridge and continuing to track toward Claxton and High School in time as it leaves Anderson County, Oak Ridge Highway, Clinton Highway, and again from Rocky Top coming down 75 toward Paulette. Those are the communities that will be impacted. And thank you, Cass, for that storm track. Again, Blowing Springs, Oak Ridge, less than 5 minutes right now. Then this storm is moving pretty quickly, a pretty good clip at about 50 to 55 miles per hour off to the east-southeast. And so torrential rainfall, damaging winds. Again, whether it's a tornado or not, and we do have a tornado warning, potentially there is, but it's likely got damaging winds. So we want you to go to your safe place, Oak Ridge to Clinton. In other parts of Anderson County right now, your safe place is going to include the center part of a home, away from outer walls and windows, the lowest floor, basement's the best storm shelter, but if you don't have a basement, downstairs versus upstairs, center part of the house, away from windows and outer walls, like a bathroom, closet, hallway, interior small room in the middle part of your house. We recommend being in a more sturdy home, building, or structure compared to a mobile home or trailer. This just provides you more structure. Put as many walls as you can between you and the outside. So that's why you want to be in the center part of your sturdy home or business whenever there's severe weather, but particularly right now. Other communities, again, there you see South Clinton in 6 minutes. Again, Oak Ridge now 3 minutes. Carnes, 16 minutes or less. We always like to shave at least about 5 minutes off or so. Again, this is our computer estimated time of arrival, again, based on the speed of movement. But as you know, weather's always changing, it's fluid. It could speed up. So shave a few minutes off that just to be on the safe side. At West Knoxville, about 25 minutes right now if this storm holds together, but at least damage and winds. Again, northward, Campbell County, Claiborne County, strong hill core that's diving off to the east-southeast between Clairfield and Speedwell. This is going to be tracking right across the Powell Valley. So Highway 63 heads up. This is going to be moving onto the northern tributaries of Norris Lake, also in far northern sections of into Union County, I should say, into southern Claiborne County. So heads up there. If you're anywhere along the Clinch or northern parts of Norris Lake, the tributaries there, you're going to get some high winds, potentially very heavy rain, and potentially some large hail. It's coming into your neck of the woods. Here we take you back to Anderson County. There's Clinchmore, Rocky Top, tornado warning again until 9:15 as this storm continues to track pretty quickly now, approaching Clinton, Rocky Top right now, and Oak Ridge also, and Jackson Square about to move into your area, the Marlowe community. Again, as far as the broad rotation, Cass, you want to do we don't have the signature for tornado, but you want to do a little bit of a investigate and scan to see what the winds may be near. These are likely going to be aloft, and so not necessarily down the surface, but there's potentially, and again, even if it is aloft, this is the concern. When you get heavy rain, it can drag that strong winds down the surface. So that's an 85-mile-per-hour wind showing up aloft likely. But the closer it gets to Morristown radar, the more true that number probably is, because the beam goes up in time. It doesn't keep up with the curvature of the Earth. So a lot of times when you go far enough away from radar, it's overshooting the top. But the closer you get to radar, it's coming right down there with it, getting a good eye level with it. And so those numbers become a little bit more confirmed and accurate. So we're looking at potentially, we are looking at severe winds in this lighter shade of blue. So whether it's tornado or not, you got severe winds. That's likely pushing from Marlowe Community, Oak Ridge, right into just south of Clinton. And this is going to be heads up for Hardin Valley, Hickory Creek area, Hardin Valley, Farragut, again, Carnes, Claxton, High School, Solway, again, Edgemore Road areas, and anywhere in around Oak Ridge, and continuing up towards Solway, and again, the Clinch River, Oliver Springs Highway as well. Again, you're looking at potentially some damaging winds, possibility of power outages downstream. Make sure you go ahead and charge your devices. My watch has got like 5%, but I've got my phone still charged up. So make sure you plug in your devices so you can get your severe weather updated information. Our WBR app will give you the severe weather alerts. You can track with radar, etc., and we'll keep you updated throughout the evening. But just a humble reminder: if we see high winds, potential power outages, it's always a good idea to have that ready to go. Cassie, I'll send it back over to you if there's any more storm reports that have come in now that the storms. We've gotten some reports of damage in around Sunbright. Potentially, we did see some lofted debris with that strong tornadic signal earlier. Okay, confirmed, and now this is what we're seeing right now. Still a tornado warning until 9:15, and we'll keep you updated on that as that extends into west and southwest Knox County. Cass?
All right, so if there is damage from this cell from earlier when we were talking about the confirmed tornado warning, the correlation coefficient showing the debris being lofted into the air, that is going to be between Sunbright and Wartburg along US 27 near the Lansing area. From there, the cell moved over Frozen Head State Park, likely knocked down some trees in that area, and it's kind of been paralleling or just to the north of 62, I believe it is. Yes, it goes right there. So now the core of that cell, because when we look at our vertically integrated liquid, this tells us where there is basically the tallest, most, where the most moisture is located, and that kind of gives us an idea of where the core is. This also tells us where we could be seeing hail, and we're seeing that right now in northwestern portions of Anderson County. This is going to be moving into the Clinton area. So in Clinton, we've been saying this for a minute here. You need to be taking shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. In fact, that vertically integrated liquid may actually be behind. It looks like that cell is moving into your area right now. So from Clinton down to Oak Ridge, you need to be moving to your safe place right now. If you are near Elm Grove School, along Raccoon Valley Road near High School that Todd was just talking about, if you're near the Bull Run Steam Plant, you need to be taking shelter. And looking farther ahead, Carnes along Emory Road to Powell, you need to be moving into your safe place if you're near Solway School. And further up to the north and the east, right now we're not seeing a warning extending to this area, but continuing up Emory Road to Halls Elementary School, along US 441 up here to the north, crossing I-75 right now to the east of Raccoon Valley Road. These are the areas that need to be taking shelter right now. We're seeing that's the core of the strongest wind and the potential of seeing some of that hail moving into this area as well. Those bright blue colors that Todd was just talking about and the strong winds are going to be moving right over and into the Oak Ridge area right now. So you need to be in your safe place and looking ahead, like I said, near Solway School, Solway in general, Carnes, Ball Camp Elementary, Ball Camp Pike. These are Amherst Elementary, near all of those areas along Pellissippi Parkway, continuing down to the south near Hardin Valley. And if we want to keep going, Dutchtown Road, Middlebrook Pike, getting down into West Knoxville, you need to be preparing to move to your safe place. Now, we're still seeing those strong winds back into Morgan County. There's kind of a tail that's developing on the back side of this, and we're seeing another little area of interest, we'll call it, to the west of Coalfield right now.
That's a good way to describe it.
An area of interest that we're keeping our eyes on that's going to be moving into Coalfield and Oliver Springs. So you're not done just yet. If I show you kind of the broader view right here, it's taking on a little bit more of a kind of an oval shape, I guess a line that's starting to drop down to the south, which that actually may be a good sign from the tornado risk standpoint. Yeah. Usually when you have a one individual cell that's broadly rotating, that increases the likelihood of a tornado. If you have more of a linear look to it.
When it goes linear, exactly.
Yeah, less of an individual cell potential tornado. There's still the potential for tornadoes, but it's more of a wind damage threat.
Yeah, you were saying that earlier, Cass, and that's exactly right. When you have a broken individual cell, this storm was all by itself. East of Nashville come across, and it had its own environment, and it was tornadic and even stronger. Once it starts to get exactly what you just said, stretched out, becomes linear, it's more of a damage and wind threat that's more of a horizontal threat, stretched out versus a concentrated core threat. One quick thing, and Chris, if digital, if you're tuning in, listening as well, or if Curtis, some folks on social media are saying they want us to go live, and we are live. So just wanted to confirm that both streaming and you're able to see us online and on air.
We're hearing from somebody that homes may have been damaged in the Twin Bridge area of the Deer Lodge area. That is in Morgan County, also near the fairgrounds along US 27. So if anybody in our newsroom is listening to this, we need to check on Deer Lodge, Morgan County Fairgrounds, US 27.
Twin Bridge Road area,
Yes, the Twin Bridge Road area of Deer Lodge. Potential trees down, possibly homes damaged, and that's around the fairgrounds and US 27 as well. So again, that's why we're continuing to track this storm, is it does have a history of producing damage. And I mean, it was waving the red flags and saying, look at me. Which is why we also had the confirmed tag, or I should say the confirmed tornado warning. We also just had a report of $half size hail in Clinton. So when we were seeing that vertically integrated liquid, it's growing. This is probably behind.
That confirms. So there's your large hail.
Y'all
we
take
may or may
shelter.
not have a tornado. We have damage and winds. We got a core of large hail, $half size hail in Clinton.
Ooh-wee.
There's a new tornado warning in Lee County, Virginia. We'll get that. If you're watching us in Lee County, Virginia, it's until 9:30. We'll get to that in a moment as well. But yeah, Cass, that's a very impactful. And that's the nature of that storm. It's holding together enough. It still has the integrity and the structure of the storm where it has that large hail core. I'll go back here at the wall, and Cass, we'll track that storm in Anderson County and try to get that Lee County, Virginia one as well. But that's a significant hail core. Go ahead, Cass.
I'll say also of note with this warning, it goes on for 15 more minutes, but the cell is starting to reach the eastern edge of it. We are likely going to see a warning of some kind extended into the Knoxville metro area very shortly here. Cass. Oh my gosh.
Just say. This is, that is 2 times tonight, folks. Castagnol has basically called it right on the money. As soon as we were talking about, that's the 2nd time tonight. As soon as you were saying that, boom.
There you go.
The National Weather Service, Charles Dalton knows that.
We're on the same page. Charles, if you're watching.
Listening and watch this.
We are on the same page.
I'm teasing a little bit. National Weather Service in Morristown does a great job, by the way.
In all seriousness right now, in all seriousness, we now have a tornado warning that has been issued for Knox County, including the Knoxville metro area. That is in effect until 9:45. This also includes parts of Anderson County and areas, wow, they went way east. That tells you how confident that the National Weather Service is that this cell will continue to show signs of rotation and produce dangerous, damaging winds. This warning extends all the way through Jefferson, Sevier, and into Cott County over into Newport. So that gives you an idea of just how long-lived this cell is expected to be. If you are in the Knoxville metro area from the river northward, you need to be moving into your safe place right now. If you are from the 640 loop northward, you need to be moving into your safe place. If you're in Knox County over in Strawberry Plains, up 11W, near Skagston, Mascot, any of these areas that I'm naming, I can hear the rumbles right now here at our studio.
It's moving east at 60.
It is, this storm is not decreasing, folks. It's moving into a favorable environment, not seeing, thankfully, any kind of a correlation, a coefficient showing anything necessarily being lofted into the air, but it is probably causing trouble. And then again, that $half size hail in the Clinton area. 2
minutes ago, 8:58, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Clinton. So that was at 8:58. Now, 3 minutes ago, just a few moments ago, it's moving east at 60 miles per hour. Tornado and quarter-size hail is possible anywhere in the red. So this is where this tornado, and close to it. This is where this storm is located near Clinton. $half size hail confirmed there. Showing up on radar as well. It's hauling to the east, maybe slightly southeast. Again, tornado warning till 9:45. Anderson, Cott, Jefferson, Knox, and Sevier counties.
Here we go.
And I'm going to go over to the wall and we'll continue.
Hey, let's not forget this. We have
this.
cameras.
Go ahead, Cass.
We've got cameras that we can be showing here, guys. Wow, Todd, this is going to be it.
I know there was something else I was going to do when I came in. Let's take a look at downtown.
Let's look at that right now.
You can get a view. It's up there somewhere. Yeah.
Going to be right here.
So we'll see the lightning. We can.
Well, first I've turned our Sharps Ridge tower camera around back to
there you go.
Back to the northwest where the storm is going to be coming in from. So we're looking at the storm off in the distance right now from our Sharps Ridge tower camera right here. Wow, that is a lot of lightning that we are seeing with that storm right now. Hearing the thunder crackling here at the studios. I'm going to check some of our TDOT cameras. Wow, our TDOT cameras also showing this. I can't show them to you, but up I-75 near the Callahan area, we're starting to see that lightning flashing there. I'm sure we're going to lose visibility very shortly. If you are in the Knoxville metro area, northward in Knox County, you need to take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows right now. We have a dangerous storm that has a history of producing wind damage that's going to be moving into our area very shortly. You can see the lightning flashing right now from our Sharps Ridge tower camera. We can see that flashing from our downtown camera as well, which I can also turn around to see where that's coming from.
Yeah, Cass, as soon as you go ahead and get that, I see a notch that's developing coming off of Clinton. Let's go ahead and get right to radar. I'll track it right here at the wall. Cass is going to continue to. That's an inflow notch. So we've got that open corridor from Knoxville that's feeding up to Powell. Powell, you need to be in your safe place. Okay, Broad Acres, also along Emory Road, and continuing Bell Campground, you need to be in your safe place anywhere along Clinton Highway from Claxton High School. Powell, again, coming out of Anderson County, crossing over. This is a potential tornadic signature coming out of Anderson County into Knox County from Clinton to Powell. Near Carnes, and this may be tracking eventually toward Hawes, Fountain City area. We're going to continue to track this storm as it's crossing over the Anderson and Knox County line, but pretty good signature right now that we've got a tightening couplet potentially. Again, may have briefly been disrupted by the higher terrain, but it looks like it's got the strong winds. And keep in mind, we've not had any storms yet today in the valley, so we've not been what we call raked over. We've not been stabilized in any way. Again, I know folks have been talking about you're messing up our program because of storms on the plateau. Well, the reason we're doing that because the storms had potential to continue moving southeast, and now they're moving into the valley. because there's instability. And there's the inflow notch into the Powell area. Concerned about damage coming into the Powell area, crossing over High School, Claxton. You need to be in your safe place. Again, you got time to do this, but just got to be quick. Moving southeast at 60, go to the middle part of your house, small interior room, take your phones, devices, charge them up, have a radio in case your power goes out. Got to have a way you can communicate, let family and friends know that you're safe, etc., and get information. But this storm is tracking from Anderson County into northwest Knox County. So from Powell, it's going to be crossing over, again, over Copper Ridge and Beaver Ridge, Raccoon Valley Road, again, Emory Road. Here is what we're seeing in Powell in 6 minutes or less, and you're continuing to trek off to the east, southeast. Here are the communities. Broad Acres, we got 4 minutes or less. Powell, 6 minutes or less. Again, there's some of the communities. Cherokee Ridge, Windsor Park will continue. Thank you, Cass. Yeah, because it may deviate a little bit on that track. Thank you. West Knoxville, 17 minutes or less. Knoxville, 19 minutes. We'll be tracking it into the Knoxville area, again, from Powell and coming right down into perhaps Sturkey Hills and continuing Clinton Highway, Oak Ridge Highway, but particularly Clinton Highway corridor is where we're going to continue to track this storm as it's making its way from Clinton. $half size hail reported earlier in Clinton. So not only damage and wind threat, there's a look at that large hail core that could make its way, again, continuing from Anderson into Knox County, and particularly from Carnes to Powell up toward Paulette, and including Claxton and High School, and working its way from Anderson into Knox County. Torrential rainfall, but also the damage and wind threat. Cass, let's go ahead and show and do a little query on the velocity scan as well. See how strong some of these winds are, and we'll take another look and see if there's a developing couplet. That's what I'm concerned about also right there. I'm sorry. We're looking at a lot of things. That's a bounded weak echo region, Raccoon Valley Road. That was with that hail core. That's the issue right there. High School, we got winds in excess of 68 to 75 miles per hour. Carnes, you got high damage and winds. Powell area, Raccoon Valley Road, Edgemore Road, High School. This is a potentially what we call a beware, a bounded weak echo region, or weak echo region bounded by rain, but it's holding together. Then take a look at, if you will, Cass, at the CC product, and see if there's anything there. We're continuing to track. Again, there's all kind of different colors. We're just looking for something specific that's different in nature on that product. But that's a look. If nothing else, we have a hail core with damaging winds that's coming down the surface. It's got likely damaging winds and some large hail. Looks like it's coming out of Anderson and into Knox County. It has some rotation with it. That's why it's a storm that's capable of producing a tornado. They cycle up and down a lot. We've been tracking this storm ever since it was back in Middle Tennessee, east of Nashville. It's had a tornado warning. This same cell. And again, a lot of times that's a clue in the atmosphere when they hold together like that. Even though it came over some of our steepest terrain. Cross Mountain, Windrock Mountain, you get up over 3,000 feet. That's higher elevations. That's pretty impressive coming off that plateau. And the Cumberland Mountains in Anderson County, those are formidable. But now it's coming off that, and it's got the inflow knots and the instability that's feeding it. And so we're looking at that potential, maybe some debris. We'll have to wait and see on that, but hopefully not. But there could be some damage from a potential tornado coming out of Clinton toward Powell, and also Bell Campground, the Broad Acres community, anywhere along Emory Road corridor that's taking you from Powell toward Halls, coming in from Carnes. So the Carnes, Powell, Halls, Gibbs corridor. And eventually this is going to be coming down, again, Tazewell Pike, Merchant Road, continuing towards Cedar Lane. We're going to have to watch this as it moves toward Norwood, Pleasant Ridge areas. Again, here's Emory Road right here. So it's not quite there yet. Here's Halls, not there yet. Here's 75, just west of there. And again, we're just looking at a core of potentially large hail and some damaging winds. And Cass, if you have any information to throw out, I'll send it right over to you. Just go ahead and take it, because National Weather Service, certainly it's getting closer to the National Weather Service radar in Morristown, so they're getting a better view of this storm. So the sampling environment is getting more true as it's getting closer to Alpha in West Hamilton County. That's the radar. See, here's the sweep. And again, we've got that heavier axis of rain. A lot of times the large hail and heavy rain precedes a tornadic storm. This is classic. Tornadoes a lot of times are in the back southwest part of the storm. Yeah, go ahead, Cass.
So the National Weather Service is, this is a tornado warned storm. So a tornado is certainly possible at any moment with this cell. However, they are watching this area in particular, right near the Powell area. It looks like a couplet may be tightening up the rotation right in that area that I just circled right there. So let me go ahead and kind of zoom in just a little bit more to exactly where we're thinking here. This is near Bell Ridge along 25W. This is going to be moving into the Cherry Brook areas along Callahan Drive near I-75 near Dante. This is going to be getting into Merchant Drive and Norwood, Black Oak, Pleasant Ridge.
Yeah, Sturkey Hills area. Right
Beaver
there.
Creek Drive. Powell Drive. You need to be in your safe place. We have said this many times. You should already be there. But if you were still thinking about it, go now to your safe place. This area of damaging winds, potential tornado, is going to be moving right down. It's kind of paralleling Pleasant Ridge Road right now and I-275 or 75 right through there. This is going to bring it into the 640 loop, coming down into all of those communities right now, including near Central High School.
Yeah, if you live near Central High School,
something
Tazewell
that
Pike.
we're going to keep an eye on here.
Yeah, Fountain City, you need to be in your safe place.
We're gonna be watching that very closely here at WBIR as well, because that's going to be coming close to our studios too. At this point, we are also noticing power outages back in Cumberland County from where this cell came through. Down trees, power lines, a possibility. We need you off of the roads as well. Please stay put until this storm passes. Very dangerous conditions expected to move into the Knoxville area very shortly. This is already very dangerous near the Powell area, and as you heard a little bit earlier, we had half-dollar size hail near the Clinton area. That core where we could be seeing that large hail is going to be moving into the Halls area, the Halls Elementary area and along Emory Road. So we have multiple threats from this cell moving into a very populated area. We have the potential of large hail. We have the potential of very strong to damaging winds, possibly a tornado developing in this area as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Cass. Yeah, absolutely. There it is right there on Henry Road. Again, Powell continuing to track. It's going to be tracking right close to the Fountain City area, moving off to the east-southeast. And Cassie, thank you for that information, because, you know, we're seeing that bounded weak echo region, but it may be a couplet that's trying to form. Where you see the lighter blues, this is some severe winds. It's a large, mature storm that's rotating around, and at the center of it, it may have a possible tornado. But even outside of it, south of us, Amherst, Carnes, again, along Oak Ridge Highway, we're seeing the outflow of some very intense winds. It's hauling. It's moving Dante right now. Sturkey Hills. Again, it's going to be Jim Shumpert Park coming right there, getting ready to cross over the ridge, about to hop over that big ridge going into Fountain City and coming on down the hill. Heads up there, Dante, Cumberland Estates, Black Oak Ridge, and Black Oak Inskip, Lonsdale. Again, Whittle Springs, eventually Knoxville, 21 minutes, and Buffett Heights, that's where we are, near it, 27 minutes. So, yeah, we are tracking this storm as it continues to track to the southeast. It's had a history now of producing some damage and some hail. Had half-dollar size hail in Clinton. We've had some damage reported even upstream in Cookeville, and we have damage reported in Deer Lodge and also Sunbright area as this storm tracked through Morgan County earlier. And so again, Dry Gap Pike. This is from Emory Road to Dry Gap Pike. So we're talking about Callahan Road. Again, coming into between Powell and Halls, coming into the Fountain City area from Black Oak Ridge, hopping over Beaver Ridge, Copper Ridge. It's going to be coming right down into northwest Knox County. There's that inflow notch right there. Hold it right there, Cass. That's some hail ahead of it, very heavy rainfall, and that could potentially be that tornadic circulation that's right there. And if anything, it's definitely holding together with potentially damaging winds. It may be a funnel cloud aloft, but it has a decent signal that's trying to it's trying to tighten up. Hopefully it doesn't, but it's trying to tighten up to a tornadic circulation. Anderson and Knox tornado warning for 2 more minutes. This is likely going to be extended. I think the other one was till 9:45. Yeah, go ahead and just pop things up, Cass. We'll continue to rotate. Folks, while you're watching, we want you to be in your safe place. You need to be in the basement, lowest floor. If you're watching us in the Powell, Northwest Knoxville, and the Knoxville area, it's time to go ahead and get in your safe place. Small interior room away from outer walls and windows, lowest floor. If mobile home or trailer, if you're watching this enough downstream, you have time, if you can get into a more sturdy home or building with a trusted, safe family, friend, or neighbor, it's always recommended. But the heavy rain and strong storm to high winds moving in, this storm is moving at 60 miles per hour. You got to move quick, okay? Because time is of the essence to get in your safe place. So while you're watching us, take your devices, make them charged up. We're streaming hop on to WBR.com, our app. You can stream that and continually watch this coverage in your safe place. Again, the storm's going to be out of here pretty quickly, so we won't have to be there hopefully too long, and then we'll be in good shape. Go ahead and get in your safe place. All right, Cass, let's go. But that's what's happening at Callahan right now. That's the storm that's coming right down from Powell. Again, at exit 112, exit 110, coming right through the Sturkey Hills area. Again, crossing over from the Merchant Road area to Inskip. Also, Cedar Lane, Dante area, crossing over Shumpert Park. It's got very heavy rain, high winds, a lot of lightning. And there you see everything slowing down, of course, on the interstates. And by the way, sometimes if you ever run this and you're traveling on the interstate, probably best just pull on over and take a breather, wait for that storm to pass, because we know it's all, the knuckle driving when you're trying to drive through a storm. Let's go back to radar and show that real quick for Knoxville, if you would, please, Cass. Thank you. And again, we're looking at that potential storm with possibility of a tornado or at least damaging winds. It's a tornado warning until 9:45 for Anderson. Cocke has just been extended more. Cocke, Jefferson, Knox now into Sevier County. And again, tracking the storm, still back at Oak Ridge, some heavy rain, but the core of this storm with its hail core, it's moving from Powell now right over Fountain City, Central High School. So we're talking about Essery Road, again, Broadway, Fountain City, getting ready to cross over Jacksboro Pike. We'll be crossing over Tazewell Pike in a moment, and Pratt's Store down the road there as well, just for some landmarks. Again, going from Fountain City up over Black Oak Ridge, that's where we could be seeing some damaging winds making its way into the region, having passed just now Emory Road, generally coming just south of the Gibbs area, but more of into the Fountain City. Strong, severe thunderstorm winds, Amherst, Middlebrook Pike, coming in from Norwood, Pleasant Ridge, and continuing to the Knoxville area. Bearden, Sequoia Hills, you need to be in your safe place because there's still some very high, potentially severe winds, damaging winds. Some trees could get knocked down. That's why especially we want you to be away from the outer walls and windows. Put as many walls between you and outside. That's always the best thing to do. But this core, I don't know if we want to do a sample. Rifle Range Road right there, spotlighting that storm. We can do a sample with the hail and see if there's much hail there. And no input signals because it's raining like crazy. There's hold it right there, Cass. That's our Sharpsridge Tower camera. Let's see, that's Clinton Highway right there. Is that correct, Cass? I believe if I got my bearings right, I may be off. That's I know, me either, but we'll figure it out in a second. That's what we're seeing. I believe that is. I'm trying to check the ridges right there. There's all the frequent lightning, the storm coming in. Again, from Powell to Fountain City. It's going to be in North Knoxville. We're going to hear it pretty heavy right here in a moment. By the way, we have our safe place here at the station. We got a bunker, a basement we go down to if we ever have to. So we'll stay transmitting and give you the information as long as we could. But if we ever have to, don't worry. We've got our safe place that we also go to, and we want you to do the same in your safe home or building. But that's what's happening right now. Again, Knoxville, Knox County just being covered up with some very heavy rain. Severe thunderstorm warning also now for Granger County, Hancock County with a tag of tornado possible, and it's got its own circulation. So south of Tazewell, again, we got multiple storms. We're doing our best to track them all over. But there's a brand new tornado warning for Claiborne, Granger, Hamblin, and Hawkins. That was just issued, I guess. And that's going to be continuing to come in from Claiborne County right into Hamblin and Granger County and southern parts of Hawkins. So heads up, Morristown. That's going to, Morristown Weather Service is going to have a good eye on that one as well as it continues to cross over Clinch Mountain coming into Granger County here shortly. So that's a new tornado warning until 10 p.m. Claiborne, Granger, Hamblin, Hawkins, be in your safe place and be prepared to move quickly. These storms are moving very quickly. Again, they've been on the plateau in Kentucky. Now they're moving into the valley. Cass, let's go back down into Knoxville and continue to track that storm. Again, there's Strawberry Plains. Knoxville, we're seeing the very heavy rainfall. That does extend back toward Oak Ridge and Clinton, but a lot of these upper level winds likely pushing out, and there could be that possibility of an embedded tornado. There's 75 at Merchant Road. There's the very heavy rainfall, and that's what's happening right now. Look at how, wow, the cars are almost stopping. I mean, they're going very slow because that's blinding rain. We all been there, right? Yeah, we understand. Well, you just got to slow down. So that's not the time to make up speed. You just slow down, pull over if you have to. 640 at Broadway. Go ahead, Cass. If you have some information, I'll let you do. But that's 640 at Broadway. Wow. That is really, really coming down. Torrential rainfall, very strong winds. And I don't know if we have any hail. It looks like sheets of very heavy rain and some very high winds blowing that around. Cass?
That's a look at Broadway at 640. So the overpass that you're seeing in the foreground is 640, and then the cars on the bottom left, That is Broadway going northbound.
That's flooding.
And that is not only is it flooded, but you can see these sheets of rain moving across that road right now as the core of this storm is making its way into the north side of Knoxville. Notice how the camera's starting to shake around too as we're starting to see the strongest wind gusts coming on in. The reason we want to show you this is because if you were even thinking about getting out on the roads right now, please do not. You need to be in your safe place in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. We can't watch this camera all night because obviously we need to show you the radar and where the actual storm currently is.
There's multiple storms. We've got to hop all over, right?
Yeah, we got a lot going on tonight. We can start to hear this on our own roof here. So like I said, we're going to be paying close attention to this potential as well. Our system also getting a little slow. Wow.
Thanks.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear that in my mic at home.
If I can hear it, it must be loud. That's just a side note.
Todd doesn't have his ears in right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we are talking about this tornado-warned storm moving into the Knoxville metro area right now. Looking at the velocity. Okay, this is the area that we need to keep a very close eye on, near Whittle Springs Middle School over to Chilhowie Elementary School. This is moving from Knoxville Metro northward. That is where we are seeing the strongest winds, the heaviest rain, and the highest potential for hail as well. I feel like you were going to say something here.
No,
Oh, no.
I'm just exactly. That looks like the hail and very heavy rain. It's just a broad rotation.
Wow.
It may not be super tight, but that area has that's the hail core of that supercell.
And it's moving over Washington Pike right now, right along the 640 loop. So this is going to be crossing over 11W. It's near Spring Place, Millertown Pike, getting into Millertown, Old Rutledge Pike. These are not areas that you want to be outside in right now. Please take shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. This is where we could have the larger hail, where you see the brighter colors right there. And then when I show you the velocity scan, this is showing us the wind potential in this area. And again, we have been tracking this storm, this particular cell, since it was to the northwest of Nashville at 5 o'clock. So we've been watching this one for almost 4.5 hours at this point. And this cell is still packing a punch. Again, it's moving through the downtown Knoxville metro area at this time. And it is going to be bringing very strong winds, very heavy rain, a lot of lightning, and the potential for an isolated tornado to spin up. Right at this moment, we don't see a particularly tight couplet anywhere, but it's definitely something that we're watching for the potential for. I'm not sure if this is just one or two false scans. Nope, that's potential for damaging winds. Coming right over I-40 right now near Hall of Fame. Okay, so this is moving over I-40 and Hall of Fame. This is going to be crossing over near the Eastport Elementary School, Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. So East Knoxville, go to your safe place right now. If you are in East Knoxville, this is going to be moving toward the river, James White Parkway, Knoxville, the Island Home neighborhood, and the airport down in that area. Please take shelter. That is where we're seeing the core of the strongest winds moving through right now and the most likely chances of damage. This is also near Strawberry Plains Pike, near Ramsey School, and areas further to the east over here, going to be getting into the Kimberlin Heights area very shortly. So if you are on the east side of Knoxville, that is where we are seeing the strongest winds at this point as this cell is moving through, and the potential for a couplet starting to form right here, which is along right here, I'll point at it, along I-40 and Hall of Fame Drive, in that area. That's where we could be seeing a potential couplet.
It's moving on the northeast side of Knoxville, exactly. Heading toward kind of Sarah Moore Green, Martin Luther King Jr., kind of Magnolia Avenue. So kind of transitioning from northeast to the east side of Knoxville. Could have some high winds. Quick little storm report. My wife texted me, said that's probably the roughest storm she's gone through. She did not have a lot of hail in the northern part of Knox County, Knoxville, but had some of the worst winds that she has personally experienced. And we've had some storms at our house, so I'm just passing that along. The winds, let's see, I think she used the word horrendous. Go ahead, Cass.
I think our director is reading my mind. I just was going to ask for this particular TDOT camera, and he's got it up for us. This is a look at Hall of Fame and, oh, that's the wrong one, I-40. Let's try this one. Nope. Try again, Matt. We're at Summit and Hall of Fame, I guess it is.
Yeah, 40 at Hall of Fame, 389.
Yeah, look at the camera shaking around from the very strong winds that we have coming through that area right now. The reduced visibility. Look at the spray coming up behind those cars. I cannot believe they are driving that fast right now. We are big rumbles.
Yeah.
Big rumbles of thunder. Camera shaking around. Very strong wind. That is at Hall of Fame and Summit Hill Drive on the east side of Knoxville, which is right where the core of the storm is moving through right now at I-40 in Hall of Fame. That camera's up even higher, and it is just swinging all over the place with the very heavy rain and strong winds that we have moving through the area. Again, this is a tornado-warned storm moving through the Knoxville metro area. This is going to be getting into Strawberry Plains and Kodak in northern Sevier County, exit 407 very shortly, and heads up in Dandridge. It's going to be reaching your area. And I'm sorry, we have not spent more time on this storm. We have a tornado-warned storm up here in parts of Granger County, and that's going to be actually extending over into Hamblin and southern Hawkins, as well as southern Claiborne County. I think it's moving away from Claiborne County at this point, but this is also a tornado-warned cell. Thank you so much, Matt. This is a look at our velocity scan. There you can see where those really bright colors there are crossing over the county line from near Claiborne County into portions of, into Granger County right there to the north of the Washburn area. This is going to be very close to Thornhill very shortly here, and is going to be crossing over 11W. So if you are near Thornhill, Mountain Valley Highway there, Mountain Valley Road, Highway 131, or getting into northern portions here of Granger County, please take shelter. You've got a tornado-warned storm moving into your area as well. This is eventually going to cross over the lake up there, and that, if you live in those areas near Mooresburg, you need to also be taking shelter in the path of that storm.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is interesting. This is back building here. Reforming again in Morgan County. You're not under a warning, but the same areas that were just impacted with damage near the Deer Lodge area between Sunbright, Wartburg, near Lansing and Morgan County, you've got another storm moving through there because the atmosphere, I guess, isn't quite done just yet. Yeah, the actual front is still far enough back to the west. We do. Yep, every time we look at that, that's that core. That core has a lot of high winds. Again, I can tell you this from a very trusted family member. My wife said that was some of the winds that were the worst experienced as it moved across just north of Knoxville. 73-mile-per-hour winds aloft. Now, when you get away from the storm, it's not nearly as bad in the southern parts of Knoxville where it's not even raining, but in this storm across northern Knox County, again, potential for damaging wind gusts and some intense winds and potential large hail as well. We had confirmed a $half size hail in the Clinton area as this storm continues to track off to the east. So as Cassie was talking about, again, continuing to move now from Hall of Fame, Chilhowie Elementary School, and then continuing on the east side of Knoxville and continuing to move past Knoxville Zoo, Rutledge Pike, and will continue to make its way from 11E Interstate 40. So Strawberry Plains Pike, Thornhill, Grove Pike, and again, this is going to continue to move out toward the Carter school area, and Carter Elementary School, the middle school, the high school. So heading toward Carter from Strawberry Plains Pike, Thornhill, Grove Pike, and eventually heading toward Johnson University and other parts of northern Sevier County into Jefferson County as you come out of Knox County, including John Sevier, and feeding up into Sevier County. Just a heads up, that storm is packing a punch, and as Cassie said, we are seeing more storms that are redeveloping back to the west. Now, the initial line is always the one that has usually the most highest potential for severe weather, and then you can get more heavy rain and general storms in the back end, but more heavy rain. This could be also a high water and flooding issue developing from Oak Ridge to Carnes to Powell. Look at this training of very heavy rain from Oak Ridge, Powell to Knoxville and continuing towards Strawberry Plains. And this is the whole storm that's kind of working its way and feeding into the Lakeway area, from Douglas Lake to Cherokee Lake, from Dandridge to Morristown area, including northern parts of Sevier County down toward the Douglas Dam and Kodak, and feeding up again on up toward Dandridge, Jefferson City, New Market, Talbot, continuing up toward Alpha and West Hamlin County. And as Cassie talked about a moment ago, Mooresburg, Whitesburg, you are seeing again some of those stronger storms. This is feeding from Claiborne County, Granger County, right into Hamlin and parts of Hawkins counties. And that's oh, look at that couplet right there, Thornhill. That's a pretty tight cut. When we say couplet, when the red and the green colors are tight like that and they're rotating, okay? And let's see, for TV, let's go that way. Yeah, counterclockwise rotation right there. So the red is going away from the radar. The radar is right over here in Morristown. The red colors are going away from the radar. The green colors inbound toward the radar. So if you do that motion, that is a counterclockwise rotation, and that's what we call gate-to-gate shear tight couplet. There it goes right there. And
Guys, if you want to do a CC, maybe just real quick. Hopefully we don't see anything. Thank you. But that's a pretty tight couplet that's continuing to develop. Don't see too much there, but it does have some rotation with this particular storm west of Thornhill and continuing to track from Granger County, diving off, thank you, Cass, yeah, toward the east-southeast. And that's going to continue to be tracking toward the Clinch Mountain School right there, Thornhill School, and again toward Rockhaven, and between 6 and 19 minutes. So again, just there's multiple storms that have been impacting parts of Kentucky, Virginia, and now down in East Tennessee. And we're tracking these multiple storms, including the storm that's going from East Knox County now towards Strawberry Plains and Thornhill Grove area, and tracking just to the in through the Knoxville area and back into Anderson County, where more heavy rain continues back toward Oliver Springs and back toward the Oak Ridge area. So that's what we're seeing with that particular storm. Again, that is continuing to impact parts of the Lakeway area. So, Cass, we may want to reset. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch. We can tell our viewers about its impact.
Let's reset.
Yeah, reset. And that severe thunderstorm watch is in place until midnight tonight. And so here's what we're looking at as far as that goes. And we're looking at that severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. It does include, and we'll see if it's been trimmed back any, but it does include most of East Tennessee across our region. That's what we're seeing as far as the potential for severe weather. And within the severe thunderstorm watch, though, we've been tracking the potential for some tornadoes. Yeah, some of those storms maintain their structure, their intensity, their integrity, and the core. And so we have had some tornado warnings. Earlier in the day, it started in Kentucky, and we've had more of those this evening, and particularly across the Plateau. Now, the watch, no, not in effect for Crossville and Jamestown. That threat for severe weather, again, hopefully continuing to wind down. But for the most of the rest of East Tennessee, does not include Ray, Meigs, McMahon, or Monroe counties as far as the watch goes. But we do have that potential for those severe storms, again, impacting. Look at this tornado warning till 9:45. It includes Cocke, Jefferson, Knox, and Sevier counties. And basically, it's covering Knox County, and it's going to go all the way now into Cocke County. That's because this storm is held together. This same storm was tornadic and developed just to the northeast of Nashville. And it's been tracking the whole way across. Gainsboro, I believe, was one of the cities we really started to move, what we call right mover, turn it to the right, had a core of lightning, hail. It got that couplet going, and ever since the eastern, northeastern part of Middle Tennessee, this is the same storm right here that's held together. So a lot of times when those storms are really strong, mature, you'll see that they can stay intact, even coming across some of our East Tennessee terrain, which is not too shabby. So there's a look at that other tornado warning, again, that is going to impact Morristown, and that's the severe thunderstorm for Claiborne, Granger, and Hancock with a tornado possible. But again, the other tornado warning is up into, again, Whitesburg and continues from Thornhill, Mooresburg. Well, that's because of that particular rotating storm right there, seeing enough signs of rotation. That's not far away from Alpha in West Hamlin County, west of Morristown, where the National Weather Service office in Morristown is tracking this storm, tracking multiple storms all over East Tennessee. That's what the National Weather Service office in Morristown does, keeping us all safe. And they've been very busy. Yeah, because it's tough when you're tracking multiple tornado warnings. We're having to hop around and stay on top of these the best we can very quickly and make sure that you're getting to your safe place. So if we mention your county, your area, your city, or close to it, just know that, you know, that kind of includes your area. You need to be prepared to take some shelter. Hey, keep it right there just a second. This is kind of cool. This is CC product, and we're looking for specific debris. But what we're seeing right here, guess what that is? You guessed it, it's Clinch Mountain. And so, yeah, that's kind of cool when it shows up in parts of, and there's the other feature. See how that shows up, the absence? That's showing up Clinch Mountain right there. Just a neat feature in Granger County. All right, so here's what we're seeing back to our, we'll check out the other storms. Again, that one rotating storm in Granger County, diving southeast toward Hamlin County. That does have a tornado warning with it. And Cass, just holler if you see something there. There's maybe a little, right, that's what I was looking at as well. And, you know, got to keep an eye when a tornado can tighten up a little bit. Go ahead, Cass.
So I was going to say, that's what the National Weather Service, we've been trying to see it, but it's hard to see with Clinch Mountain being right there. It kind of disrupts the radar view just a little bit. That's why you're kind of seeing that dead zone that Todd was just pointing out right there. That's Clinch Mountain. But what we're also noticing is right where we've had the velocity, the couplet that just came to the west of Thornhill, now moving to the south of Thornhill along Highway 25E, that's the same spot where we also are seeing a potential debris signature. And if I back this up just a little bit.
Yeah, west of Main Station, Charles said.
Right there. right there, just to the west of Thornhill. This is right at the intersection of Highway 131 and 25E, right near Mountain Valley. Well, it's the same thing, Thornhill School. That blue and that yellow, the greens, the mix of colors that you see right here, that was the first indication of debris being lofted into the air. So likely a tornado was on the ground just to the west of the Thornhill area near Thornhill School just a minute or two ago. And that has now shifted over to the east. So following that cell, we've been showing it to you here. It is now over into near Rock Haven. So if you are in this area, there likely was damage along Highway 131 and 25E just to the west of Thornhill near Thornhill School. Again, that is why the storm remains a tornado-warned storm. It's right near Clinch Mountain School, and it's going to be moving toward Bean Station Elementary School. So if you are in Bean Station and near Bean Station Elementary School, even looking ahead to being near Lakeshore Drive, you need to be taking shelter in the lowest level of your home, away from doors and windows. Oh, there it goes. So the National Weather Service has just turned this into a confirmed tornado warning. We were talking about this earlier tonight when we had the cell back in Morgan County. Not this cell, it's the one that's going through Knox County right now. This cell now up here to the north is now a confirmed tornado warned cell because of that correlation coefficient, that drop that we just saw. And it's right here right now. That if there's a tornado on the ground, that's where it will be, moving toward Bean Station Elementary School, likely have been on the ground from near 25E and Highway 131. Again, this is moving toward Bean Station and Bean Station Elementary School, so please take shelter if you're in this area.
Yeah, thank you, Cass. I'm just listening to you, great coverage, just highlighting that as well. And Charles Dalton, the National Weather Service, said, yep, that's what, oh boy, there it is right there. It's perhaps, it's gone from Thornhill to Bean Station. It's maintained. That's impressive. It hopped over Clinch Mountain and still held together.
Yeah, that's a really impressive cell.
Yeah, it is impressive. And so impressive in terms of meteorology. So that's what we're seeing right now just to the west of Bean Station. And again, the Clinch Mountain School. If you're in Bean Station, you need to be in your safe place, okay? That means to be away from outer walls and windows, get in the lowest floor, center part of your sturdy home or building. It's moving fast, not going to take long, and then you hopefully be in good shape. But a bathroom, a hallway or closet, small room, without windows preferably. If it's a bathroom with a small window, that's okay. You just don't want to be in a large room, don't want to be in a garage. That's not as much support. You want to have the walls be closer in. It gives you more, it holds more weight, and provides more safety for you in your safe place. Your safe place is where you go to take cover from storms anytime there's bad weather coming, like tonight in many areas. So again, Bean Station, take cover. Hunker down there in Granger County, heads up Morristown, Hamlin County. And we'll continue to track this storm as it works its way from Granger into Hamlin County, Cherokee Lake area, and the northern part of the Lakeway area. You need to be certainly taking cover. Again, for this is 11W right here. Again, from Thornhill, making its way toward Bean Station. We're crossing over the lake, and then we're getting down into Lakeshore Drive down here, I should say. And that's going to continue to track to the north and east. Let's put it back on radar, if you would, Cass. We can go back and forth. You can show velocity and whatever we want. Maybe velocity may work better. But when it turns purple, and Cassie just mentioned that, that's a confirmed tornado. Normal tornado warning, a red tornado possible. So again, just while we're all talking new information here, when you see that, that's kind of a confirmed tornado tag when it's in a purple shading. So when you see that, that's another, take it up a notch too. Yep.
And we're back.
I know, and I saw your, Cassie went just like this.
It just won't stop.
And there's another, that's a tightening circulation that's coming out of Knox County
Todd, there's three.
Kodak. And Smoky's Part right there,
There's
Cass.
one right there, there's one right there, and there's one right here.
Yeah.
There are three areas.
Just like an ocean, waves.
It is. It is. That's exactly what's happening right now.
Air is just like water, behaves very similarly.
Now, those areas back to the west are not technically warned.
3, exactly.
Yeah, but see, it's that scalloping nature of this line of storms that we've got right now. There is enough rotation and enough instability where these storms are moving off to the east at about 40, 45, 50 miles per hour, and they are packing a punch. Look at this right now with the bright blue colors right there over Boyd's Creek Highway near Payne School. This is going to be moving over 66 to the south of I-40. So that's the Parkway.
Right, there's the Parkway right here. This is exit 407, Bucky's, Smoky's Part.
Yeah, Kodak. This is exactly where it's going to be.
Valley.
Exit 407, right there near Douglas Dam Road. It's coming in your direction too. It's going to be passing to the north of Sevierville. So if you are in Sevierville right now, you are technically in the tornado warning, but this is going to pass to your north. It really is Sorry, Todd, I'm moving too fast for you
No,
there.
you're fine. There's probably a large hail there, notch here, tornadic circulation somewhere between that. There's your hail.
Wow, that could be $half size hail right there. Right now near Midway School,
Midway
that's going to be
School,
getting into
headed toward
Kodak.
Yep.
Right near Smoky Stadium, right near Bass Pro Shop, right near all the new buildings that are being built out in that exit area.
Yeah, big flea market.
Big flea market,
Exit
the park.
407, yeah.
We know this area pretty well.
So yeah, everybody knows what. Oh,
Everybody knows this area pretty well.
Yeah, that
so
huge
yes.
gas station. So everybody, I mean, you got to be able to take cover here in Kodak, and certainly along Highway 66. See, the atmosphere is, the reason there's a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight is because the instability is there for storms to be strong to severe between now and midnight. So the atmosphere is still capable of producing severe weather. That's why don't let your guard down yet. Now, once we move past midnight, we'll be good sleeping weather, will be fine, and Friday looks cool and dry. But right now, we're in an unstable atmosphere. These storms still packing a punch, and they could be producing damaging winds and possibilities of some isolated tornadoes. As Cassie, you were showing, that was a great view you showed that showed the ripple, the wavy effect of all these little undulations within this line that could have these spin-ups and damaging winds and large hail. There's the $half size hail. It's right into Kodak. I mean, that's, if anything, that's intensifying. It's stronger right now. So Kodak, Smokies Park, 407, some very large hail.
And here
we don't have a
in
camera there. I was going to say if we could take a camera. We used to at Smokies
we don't
Park.
have it right now, but in Knoxville right now, we just heard the rain pick up to a roar again at our building because there's going to be multiple rounds of these storms coming through here. So don't let your guard down. In fact, looking very closely right here, up near 640, again, the 640 loop, 275, I-75, near Lonsdale Elementary School over to Belmorris Elementary. We've got another round of strong winds about to come through this area again.
Exactly. Right there. And back in
then we have
Carnes.
another one back off to the west, right along the county line, coming from Anderson into Knox County right here near Edgemore Road, coming into Carnes. You've got another round about to cross over Emory Road, and we are seeing some persistent traffic issues on some of these roads, so that would kind of give me the heads up that there may be some debris down on roads in these areas. Yeah,
exactly. Thank you, Cass. And those where you see the lighter, even the darker blues, that's winds at least in excess of 60 miles per hour. So just to let you know, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at couplets with tornadic signatures, but when we're talking about just the velocity scan, which is what we're looking at here, whenever you see the bluer shade, yeah, that's when we're looking at the severe winds. We can see that shade, and that's likely 60 to 70 mile per hour plus winds. Could be, we were looking at 83 mile per hour winds earlier as it was approaching Oak Ridge. I want to say this too, there's 69 right there, so near 70. I want to say this, if you can safely send us reports at newstips@wbr.com. Of course, we're monitoring social media. We have Rebecca Sweet, Mike Simon, Tavian Whitehurst, got our own meteorologist, got all our staff in the newsroom monitoring all the social pages. So if you can safely give us, if you have any storm reports, we don't want you to be out in the storm. Don't do that. But once the storm passes, if there is some damage that you can safely report to us, we appreciate any storm reports so that we can pass those on to our viewers. Tornado warning till 9:45 for Cog, Jefferson, Knox, and Sevier. You see the core of lightning. Kodak, you have large hail and a possible tornado at exit 407. It's moving right now along the northern part of the parkway, and that's crossing over Highway 66. Again, pretty strong signal there of at least some rotation and large hail, and that's likely on the northern eastern side of that storm, and perhaps that little bit of a couplet that's still showing up with some severe winds ahead of it that's crossing over. It's moving quickly. Look at that. That latest scan, which in severe mode is coming in every 2 minutes or less, so we're getting frequent updates, but that's right along Highway 66. Again, this is exit 407, so as you come right down, again, you're going up the hill, and then I believe it's, forgive me, from Northview Academy, or on the top of the hill. There's a Y goes there, Northview Academy, so right at the top of that hill, and then coming on down and continuing to make your way over toward, I believe it's Douglas Dam, and the intersection of that highway there. So you're coming on down toward northern side of Sevierville, but well up 66. That's about where that core of that storm is in general. So back to the west, again, Knoxville, back to Carnes. Again, Oak Ridge, seeing some of those severe winds. Back toward Wartburg, still looking at the storms.
My goodness, Morgan County.
Yep, Morgan County, still looking at those storms.
And that means that, again, we're not done yet. We haven't. Now, those are less likely to be severe because the atmosphere has had this initial cell come through, but those storms are still cranking. They could still produce very gusty winds, very heavy rain, and obviously the lightning is very dangerous as well. You can see that little line building back near the Wartburg area, shifting down toward the south and the east. That is going to be moving into northern portions of Roane County. Going to be moving into Oak Ridge, Oliver Springs. You got a secondary line coming, and then we're still seeing that line back building from near the Knoxville area to Oak Ridge. By the way, that confirmed tornado-warned storm that we were tracking that had the CC drop, the debris that was lofted into the atmosphere near Thornhill and Bean Station, that storm has weakened significantly, and the National Weather Service is checking it closely. Probably not going to continue the confirmed tag, but they are going to keep the warning on there. It looks like, which our system will update in just a minute, and we'll come back to that once our system does update, so we're showing you the proper information. But it does look like they actually just issued an additional severe tornado warning. So the tornado warned storm that just came through Knoxville, the one that Todd and I were just talking about near Kodak exit 407, the warning for that cell has now just been extended to continue through northern portions of Sevier County, southern Jefferson County, and now extended all the way through Cott County into the mountains. So this now includes Newport, Hartford, Del Rio, Cosby. Folks, if I just named your town in Cott County, you need to, we can mute Todd's mic for 1 second. I think he's getting a drink. These are the areas where we have a tornado warned cell that's going to be moving in your direction right there. All right, he's back.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. You need my. I was getting the water out of the fridge.
I heard you.
Back to you, Cass. Here, this is for you. Whenever you need it. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is the tornado warning for Cott, Jefferson, Sevier. Oh, that's the extension. What you just said, Cass. Until 10:30, southern Jefferson, Cott County, northern Sevier. At 9:43, severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near Sevierville, over Sevierville, or just north of there, moving east at 45 miles per hour, possible tornado and quarter-size hail.
Okay, this cell is getting serious again, folks.
That is tightening up, actually.
This cell is getting serious right now. It is moving over the Winfield-Dunn Parkway toward Douglas Dam Road in Sevier County. Yep. If you are ahead of this cell, you need to take shelter. So looking ahead, this is going to be 411, moving through Sevier County from Sevierville northeastward up into Cott County. You need to take shelter if you're in this area. This does include Chestnut Hill. It's Chestnut Hill, near Blowing Cave School, north of New Center Elementary School, and again near Indian Creek Road, near Edgemont Elementary School, 25W, into the Newport area. This cell is tightening up significantly right now as it's crossing Douglas Dam Road, or not even necessarily tightening up, but strengthening. Damaging winds. Damaging winds are very likely with this cell now as it's coming through this area, whether it's a tornado or not.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, folks in our newsroom behind the scenes, I don't know if we can take Max 2. Thank you so much. This is the storm.
Ooh, Todd.
Yeah, I know. That's the CC. Okay.
Oh goodness.
So don't take Max 2. Stay on Max 1 right there. That's got that looks like it's developing tornadic circulation. It's tightening up.
Got a
we
CC
may have
drop.
some developing. Yeah, we may have a CC debris signature developing there.
We're
looking at exit
Road.
407. You know, the traffic's moving on okay. It's now south on 66. It's crossing over Winfield, Dunfield.
It's crossing over Douglas Dam Road
Douglas Dam Road. Thank you, Cass. Right there. Here's the storm tracks on it. I'm going to go back to the wall. Cass, I'll let you track. And so, yeah, this is a tightening potential tornadic storm. And you can see with the red colors, those are outbound, moving away from radar. Let's see, here we are in Sevier County. So the radar's up here. These winds are going away from the radar, and that's what's right here in red, going away in purple. And the closer they are together, the brighter they are together, and the closer they are, the more vibrant they are together, that's the stronger couplet that you have. And so where you have these winds are coming toward the radar, the green, the red, and these are severe winds in blue ahead of it. But we have this stronger, larger couplet, and we're seeing what we call correlation coefficient. It's a product that can show dirt, debris, stuff on the ground that's being lofted up into the atmosphere. That's what a tornado does. Picks stuff off the ground, lofts it. So there's all kind of ways to try to tell with Doppler radar what's going on. It has to be something in the air, and then it can see it. And so that's what velocity and Doppler radar is looking at. It's looking at the speed, the movement of wind, and it can even see dirt and debris in the air that's lofted if wind picks it up. It can even see, you know, flocks of birds, et cetera, find insects. It's very high-res technology, but that's what we're looking at with that core that we're seeing right now that's crossing over. Again, this is again, Douglas Dam Road and Winfield Parkway. Again, continuing Old Highway 411. Here's Sevierville, so just to the northeast of Sevierville in Sevier County. And this is going to continue to track through the northern part of Sevierville and Sevier County. Here's New Center Elementary School. By the way, when we were cranking out some of those names of school, you may have heard a school that was is no longer there anymore. Long story short, but it's a database waiting to be updated. So some of these schools may or may not be there, but most of them are. Anyway, here's a look at northern Sevier County, and there's a look at, that's our tower cam, Sharps Ridge.
There you go.
Oh, there's Douglas Dam. And that's not Douglas Dam, that's Douglas Lake. Sorry, that's the Dandridge Dock. That's our live camera. See the lightning, sideways rain, and really coming down. You can see by the size of the droplets some intense rainfall. That's what's happening at Douglas Lake. This is the Dandridge Dock, nearby Dandridge. And yes, some intense lightning. And we hope you're having a good, safe night in your safe place. It's been a rough evening for many, where we have had some damage, and these storms just holding together, and there's multiple cells. Cass, after we get through with this storm, we need to go back up to the Morristown storm, where we still have that tornado warning.
They've discontinued the tornado warning.
Okay, they did.
But
Thank
still
you.
a damaging wind threat.
Okay, thank you. Wanted to make sure and check on that, because some of these, again, they can develop quickly. There's Whitesburg. From Mooresburg to Whitesburg, you still have that potential damage and wind threat moving toward Mohawk and Greene County. So coming out again of Granger County, more toward the northern and eastern side. Here's Morristown. Looks like it's going to be tracking more to your east, obviously is, and into southern portions of Hawkins counties, and moving toward into Greene County and Interstate 81 eventually. So just want to get an update. Tornado is still possible. They've dropped the tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning for Greene, Hamlin, and Hawkins until 10:30. Thank you, Cass. And we go back and cover the storm in Sevier County and other, check out exactly. That's probably the strongest storm. Look at the heavy rain that continues back to Knoxville and Oak Ridge, and that could be a flooding threat.
That's exactly, I was just thinking it. I was like, next up is going to be a flood advisory or a potential flash flood warning, depending on the reports that we get, because it's been raining now for close to an hour in some of these places, persistently, very heavy.
1 to 2 inch rainfall rates per hour, more than likely. Dumping out some heavy rain, confirmed on our Douglas Lake camera. Yeah, look at that. Is that just the last hour?
That is the last hour, yeah. That's the whole last hour right there.
Yeah. So that, I mean, when we say training, what does that mean? That's train cars going over the train track repeatedly over the same area without moving.
So again, multi-threat.
Same area.
It's just a multi-threat night going on with these cells. Let's get another tighter look at this cell right now. It's moving right along the county line of northern Sevier County and southern Jefferson County. That is where we are seeing the strongest winds right now. Not necessarily a tight couplet per se, but a damaging wind threat, the way this is happening, almost a downburst type signature here with the winds, the two different places of brightness that you see right here. As far as the potential velocity showing up here, this is now just to the north of Pittman Center Road, so just to the east of Sevierville. Pittman Center Road showing velocities possibly near 60 miles per hour, and also up in southern Jefferson County, 50 plus up in these areas as well. So again, let me get rid of that right there. So now this is going to be getting into New Center Elementary School, and let me double check the rain. Okay, so here's the thing. There's the rain, there's the velocity scan. So the wind is now out ahead of the rain. So don't wait for rain to arrive. Listen to where we're talking about right now.
The wind's coming first.
The wind is coming first,
winds.
And it can definitely cause an issue here. This is right along near the Sevier County High School is right near here, Walnut Grove Road, Harrisburg, Old Newport Highway. This is along 411.
Yeah, that's right.
Running right up here near New Center Elementary School. The rain isn't there yet, but the wind is. Please take shelter if you're in Cedar Bluff, out ahead of that.
Sevier County, Cedar Bluff.
Near Cummings Chapel Road or Sharp Road or Fair Garden. Anywhere that I'm naming over here, you need to be taking shelter as you've got the potential for damaging winds that is about to move into your area. It's crossing over 411 right now. Up in this area, it's going to be crossing over Old Newport Highway next, and then it's going to be getting into the areas that I just named right there. So let's do a little storm track here. See which way we're going next for the next communities that are in the path of this storm, and that is Walnut Grove Baptist Church. If you are near any of the places that are being named right here, you need to take shelter. Fair Garden, Fox Church, Birchfield Church, Chestnut Hill Elementary School, Sunset, Gap, Carson Springs, or Union Baptist Church. And again, this is up into Sevier and Jefferson counties, going to be moving into Cocke County. So Newport to Hartford, along I-40 in that area. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry to be telling you that we've got a damaging wind threat that's going to be moving into your area. I know these areas were impacted very, very, very much so by Hurricane Helene back in late September. And I know this is not something that you want to hear is coming. I'm giving you the biggest heads up that I possibly can right now. If you are in Cott County in any of those areas, maybe not in a sturdy shelter, you need to be moving to a sturdy building until these storms pass. Please do that. These storms have a history of wind damage, and they will be arriving into your area within about a half an hour. So if you are near Newport, Hartford, Cosby, Del Rio, anywhere in those areas and you are not in a sturdy building, you need to go try to find one.
Quarter size, thank you, Cass. Quarter size hail in Splendor Oaks and Kodak. A severe hail a moment ago. And Cass,
there you go.
Thank you. And you made a great point. In some of the mountainous communities in Cott County, you know, hard hit areas, and these storms. Again, here we are coming up on 10 p.m. And by the way, KDM and also getting ready for Fox 43 at 10. And we're going to bring you our continued coverage while there's a threat for tornadoes and damage in this severe episode. But we have a severe thunderstorm watch. It's in place. We'll kind of reset, maybe go back to that very beginning. And severe thunderstorm watch until midnight tonight. And so that is one of the things that we are looking at as far as the potential. Again, once we get past midnight, we are going to see the potential severe threat starting to lessen as we go over into the overnight hours. So up until midnight, though, we do have that chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms. And again, they're going to continue to make their way east. Right now, the threat for severe weather has pretty much ended across parts of Kentucky and the northern plateau, but we're still seeing the storms from just south of Wartburg and continuing into Anderson County, so Oak Ridge, Clinton. That's kind of a redevelopment, mainly a heavy rain threat. There's not any severe thunderstorm warnings with that in Sevier County, but we have the tornado warning for Cock, Jefferson, and Sevier until 10:30, 35 more minutes from right now. And here's the Greene, Hamlin, and Hawkins County severe storm. It's got a tornado possible tag on it. Whether it has a tornado or not, damaging winds appear likely. Again, there's emergency crews that are kind of a storm spotters out there that are relaying some reports. We have some crews that are going into Sevierville and Sevier County in the Kodak area, and we'll be relaying if there's any damage reports. If you can safely relay reports to us, we would appreciate that.
And
News
actually,
tips at WBIR.com. Cassie?
Along that note, Todd, thank you to all the viewers who have been sending us reports. I've just been keeping an eye on our email to see what's up. Thank you to everybody who is safely letting us know what you're seeing in your area. It really helps us to know if what we're seeing on this radar is actually happening on the ground in these areas. And in a lot of cases, it seems like it is. So thank you to everybody at home for all of your help. You are our eyes in these type of situations. We only have so many cameras, so we really appreciate all of your observations. However, we want you to do it safely, so stay home if you can. And also, you need to take shelter if you are in this particular area that we're zooming in on right now.
And Cass, just to reiterate, it is absolutely coming down on our rooftop. Hear it pouring right now. Okay, we take you back again. New Center Elementary School in Sevier County. Here's the last hour. We've got that broad rotation, but some large hail, some damaging wind threat continues into Sevier County. This is the storm that's going to be moving from Sevier County and head toward Cott County. And again, that's a velocity scan of 62 miles per hour. Severe winds, anything in excess of 58 miles per hour or greater. And so we rounded up to 60. So 62 mile per hour wind gusts there. And again, damage and wind threat continues for Sevier County. I know.
It is raining so hard, Todd. I feel like I can feel it in my feet.
Yeah.
Like I can just feel the rumble of the building right now. It's raining so hard.
It is pouring. When we hear it on the rooftop, it's really coming down. By the way, I did take a quick water break and right back, and I looked outside, water just flowing down the parking lot. It's a warm type of spring, almost tropical type rain. We've had this spring-like warmth all week long. You know, the setup. Now we got a strong cold front that's bringing in a little bit of cooler air, and so it's squeezing out all that moisture, precipitation, heavy torrential rainfall.
We have a dew point of 60 degrees right now.
It's still 60? Wow.
It is soupy outside right now, and that's just a lot of moisture for this line to work with at this point. That's going to be the next threat that's going to come from this. We have the damaging wind, the hail, the tornado threat, and next is going to come the flood threat. So again, please stay off the roadways tonight. Cannot emphasize that enough. Right now, we technically have there's a new tornado warning, Todd.
Oh, well. Okay.
He feels the same way I do. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's go on up here. This is a little bit to the north of our viewing area.
No, that's way up in Hawkins County, and that's going to be Upper East Tennessee.
This is going to be just outside of our
fringe.
viewing area,
Kingsport.
up in the Kingsport area, over to Bluff City. So again, this is outside of our viewing area. So we're gonna focus on our viewing area here. This is the cell though that did move through Churchill and Fall Branch, but bringing it on back down here, we do have a severe warned storm. This is the same one that had the confirmed tornado near Thornhill and Bean Station a little bit ago over in Granger County. This cell does not have a tornado warning attached to it, but it does have a tornado possible tag, meaning that we still see the general rotation within that cell, and at any time it could tighten up, and that may be a concern. This cell is moving over, or is near Whitesburg. It's near Bulls Gap, crossing over 66. It is approaching 11E, very shortly near Mohawk, Mossheim, and near Otway School. Our elementary school, excuse me, and this is going to be passing near Greenville and into Raytown. So heads up, in Greene County, this is going to be moving into your area. It's not quite to I-81 just yet, but it is going to be passing over there, probably to the north of 11E. So between 11E and I-81, these are the areas where you need to be taking shelter if you are in the path of this storm. And zooming out, just to give you a big picture here, we're not done yet. We still have that line that's now back near Oak Ridge and over up to I-75 near Clinton. Once that finally stops redeveloping and moves out of here, we're going to start to see things calming down, but we still have a few more hours of this, folks, and we still have the severe warning into parts of Greene County here with a tornado possible tag, and then we have our tornado warned storm down here that's going to be moving out of eastern Sevier County and into Cott County. Folks in this area, this is the cell that we have been watching literally for 5 hours since it was to the northwest of Nashville.
It's been a while.
And it's still going. It's crossing 411 right now near Chestnut Hill Elementary School near Blowing Cave Road. That is where we're seeing the brightest velocities. And on the radar right now, if I check it out here just a little bit, we're seeing a velocity of about 66 miles per hour. This is not that far from the radar. So that gives us an idea that this may actually be kind of reaching down to the surface right near the county line here of southern Jefferson, northern Sevier, about to move into Cott County.
Yeah. Cass, let's go to the wider view, for our region. And wanted to talk about, maybe hit storm reports, if you don't mind. And it's good information just coming in from where the storms have tracked through, coming across the plateau. And
they're not in yet. It doesn't
look
like.
Right there, okay. And we want to welcome our Fox 43 viewers. We continue our long-form severe weather coverage that we've been continuing throughout the evening on Channel 10, WBIR TV. Now, again, simulcasting both with Fox 43, part of our regular broadcast. Katie Inman on the news desk standing by as well. Cassie Nall in the Weather Center, and we're continuing to track strong to severe storms. Cassie just was seeing and wanted to tell the folks, Deer Lodge, we're having reports coming in of damage to some homes, and the Morgan County Sheriffs are trying to get to some folks who are in their homes with some damage. And so that's all we know right now. But from Deer Lodge and maybe between Deer Lodge and Sunbright and along Highway 27, as that heart of that storm was tightening up with a possible tornado in and around Deer Lodge to Sunbright and in all areas in between, reports of some damage to homes in the Deer Lodge area. So again, that's been a confirmed report, and working on getting more information for Deer Lodge in Morgan County and elsewhere and otherwise. We've had the $50 hail report in Clinton. We've had the numerous, thank you for all of you who have safely sent in some of the reports of the winds, the heavy rain. The concern right now also is heavy rain and flooding, in addition to the severe threat that continues from Sevier County, Jefferson County into Cott County. Still a tornado warning. And for you from Mossheim to Greenville to Baileyton and continuing toward Mohawk and continuing now up toward near Rogersville as well, Churchill, Shergoinsville on the edge of our viewing area, and it's moving into Kingsport. That's a new tornado warning that's going to impact Kingsport, Johnson City, and up toward the Bristol area in time. So this is, if you look back, this is kind of the whole line. You're more or less seeing the end of a lot of the shower storms on the northern plateau in Kentucky, but still from basically Rockwood, Kingston, Oliver Springs, Oak Ridge, up toward Clinton, and coming into Knox County, including Knoxville. Torrential rainfall on a rooftop a moment ago here at our station in North Knoxville. And there's the severe weather from Dandridge to Newport, tornado warning. This tornado warning, and Cassie knows it a moment ago, and if you're just joining us on Fox 43, this is the same storm that was tornadic just northeast of Nashville. Been tracking this storm for over 5 hours, actually, since that one formed. That's the same cell. Basically the inner core of that same cell. There's been other storms, numerous storms. Thank you, Cass, and kind of take a look at that big picture. And yeah, I see what you're doing. We'll go back and replay. There's 403. Is that where it started?
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
that's
okay,
it.
so even well before Nashville.
You ready? You want to follow it?
Yeah, you take it, Cass.
Here we go.
It's all yours.
Here we go. This is when I noticed it right here. When it was starting its little right movement right there.
Yep.
Mike Simon and I were talking about it, and we were like, that's the one. That's going to be it. That's the troublemaker. Look at that. All by itself, which is why it has been able to maintain its health.
I'll tell a straight.
All the way across the state.
Wow.
Here it is in Knoxville. There it is moving out of Sevier County into Cobb County right now. That is absolutely incredible. I also want to show the back edge.
From way up here, all
we'll
the
go
way,
back. There it is.
working its way into the Smoky Mountains.
It has taken a tour de Tennessee today, and unfortunately it has left a path of destruction in its past because it was a very, very, very strong storm. We're not quite done with the threat for severe weather just yet. We're still tracking a couple of storms out here, but I want to show folks that there is a light at the end of the tunnel when we're talking about the severe weather threat. Let me show you the current temperatures. Crossville is down to 54, Huntsville's down to 57, Williamsburg, Kentucky 55, Jamestown down to 54. There can still be some more showers later tonight, but that's the leading edge of the cooler air that's going to come in and stabilize things. Also looking at the dew points, you can see the same thing. The dew points are down into the low to mid 50s in those areas.
That's a good sign.
But where they're still in the low to mid 60s, that is where we still have the instability, which is where we still have the fuel for the storms that we've got across the area tonight. So we're continuing to track that for you.
Cass, storm reports coming in. Chestnut Hill, we were tracking that storm. Cassie, you were mentioning that earlier on your storm tracks. Nickel to quarter size hail, and that was confirmed earlier. And a spotter at the fire hall reported that. And let's see. Well, Splendor Oaks Hall. I think I remember seeing Splendor Oaks on one of your storm tracks. Splendor Oaks hail, excuse me, $50 size hail coming in. So Greg Williams, Skywarn spotter, part of the National Weather Service network of feeding information to the National Weather Service. Again, we're just relaying what we're seeing and hearing on to you. And again, Splendor Oaks had $50 size hail. Clinton reported $50 size hail. That's still a tight circulation there.
That is still bright winds. So still looking like it could be producing damaging winds now. This is now moved out of Jefferson and Sevier counties. It's now in western portions of Cobb County here. That's where we've got the brightest velocities. This is heading toward 321.
Yeah, Highway 321 and Interstate 40 in Cobb County.
South of Newport, in between Newport and Hartford.
Right.
It's going to probably pass very close to Cosby Elementary School. So if you are in the Cosby Elementary School area, you need to be taking shelter right now if you're near 73. Folks, this is still a damaging wind threat and going to be a potential to produce hail as well. As see how our Ville is looking. Huge potential for hail. Coming into that area, you were just hearing about that. So a quarter size hail likely with this cell. Again, it's going to be moving over 321 to near I-40, near the Cosby Elementary School area. Damaging winds, large hail a possibility. Can't rule out the potential for a spin up with a tornado in this area.
Yeah, thank you, Cass. It's just amazing. And thank you, Cass, for doing that rewind, because that was even in Kentucky. That storm made it all the way across Middle and East Tennessee, and now here it is, about to go through into Cobb County and toward the mountains. And one of those long-track, tornadic thunderstorms that kept its rotation, and that's what it's kept us busy all night long, tracking it, and it's produced a lot of damage again. And one of the reasons we continue to bring long-form coverage is because whenever there's potential tornadoes, they can obviously do more serious damage when you have localized high winds like that. And it's in our viewing area. So I know we've interrupted a lot of programming from earlier. Apologies. It's just we don't really have a choice. We have to when it's in our viewing area. So hopefully you understand. And that's what's heading into Cobb County and the Foothills Parkway, eventually Interstate 40 and into Cobb County between Hartford and Newport. Again, still a tornado warning. I think that goes until 10:30. I'm gonna have to check that again as far as that potential, the tornado warning.
10:30.
Until 10:30.
And Todd,
so, yes,
guess
go
what
ahead.
just was issued over here in Knox County?
flood something.
It's not it's not showing up. But yes, you are correct. It is a flood advisory.
Is it advisory or warning? Yeah,
it's a flood advisory, and it's not showing up in our system. Hold on one second.
It's just taken a while. It's bandwidth, but it's gotten so many products coming in. The more torrential rainfall continues, and I tell you what, do you mind hitting the observed rainfall?
Hold on one
over
second.
In our palette? Yeah, take your time. But we're probably
there. It is.
Okay, there you go. Thank you, Cass. Yep.
There's
wow. And it goes from Clinton to Oak Ridge.
Wow. There
right
you go.
Across where those it's basically with that tornado warned storm also depositing the very heavy rainfall, and it's left behind a lot of heavy rain as well as it continues to track on east. Do you mind hitting
Estimating 1 to 2 inches of rain has fallen within just the last hour in this
1 to 2
area.
inches. Okay.
And additional moderate to heavy rain will continue over another hour or possibly 2, which will exacerbate the ongoing minor flooding. So any of those low-lying, typically flood-prone areas that you know of that flood in these type of areas, this is where you need to be paying attention to and avoiding driving this evening here. Let's look at some of our observed rainfall in these areas over the last 24 hours. Let's look at this. This is going to be over near
that's a whole
Strawberry
other story
Plains.
with the flood. There you go.
Now this may be an overestimate, but it also could be accurate.
It could
some
be.
of the areas?
If we get hail, it could be what we call hail contamination. If there's ice, sometimes that can throw the rainfall estimate off. But even if you shave a ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch off of that, even if there's a little bit of a margin there, that's a lot. You know, it's at least 2.5 inches, for example, I mean, nearly 3 in some cases. So yeah, I mean, basically 1.5 inches to almost 3 inches at least across this axis. Thank you, Cass, for pointing that up. Take it away. I just wanted to reiterate what you were talking about there with how impressive these storms have been as they're tracking off to the east-southeast and still producing some of that severe weather, even as they're about to go into the mountains and cross over. And Cass, you mentioned this a moment ago. In Cotton County, some of the hard-hit areas from Helene, of course, you know, and certainly we hope there's continue to be recovery there. But there are some impactful storms with heavy rain. Now, hopefully, once we get past midnight, we're going to see a weakening trend. We have a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. But once we get past midnight, it looks like we will see the severe threat dying down. Cassie mentioned a moment ago, we're starting to see that cooler and drier air moving onto the plateau with dew points dropping, cooler air moving in. That's just ahead of the front. So here we are at 10:10. And again, still have another maybe 1 to 2 hours for the rest of the area. But that front's going to be moving through around and just after midnight. And that's going to clean us out and clear us out and take the moisture with it. But right now, before that front moves through, where you see these brighter blue colors and the brighter reds, that's still indicative of some severe thunderstorm winds.
This actually just came through our studios here just a few minutes ago. Katie and I actually looked at each other. She's sitting at the desk here when it came through. There were some very strong wind gusts with this right here. And based on the velocities that I'm seeing right here, not completely ruling it out for some broad rotation right in that little section right there coming into the Kimberlin Heights area here, kind of right along the river, it looks like there in eastern Knox County. That's going to be crossing over into the Kodak area again. Along the Winfield-Dunn Parkway, but that's definitely an area to watch. It's not technically included in any kind of warning at this moment, but it's definitely got our attention, whether it ends up warned or not. That's an area where you're going to have really strong wind gusts. It's going to come through again. Our velocity showing potentially 85 mile-per-hour winds.
Okay.
That could be aloft, but that also could come down to the surface. And again, this is embedded with more heavy rain that's going to be moving into the area as well. So again, we have the flood advisory that extends from near Clinton all the way into the Kodak area. And then we still have that rotation that's showing up, even though there's no warning on it. That's really got my eye right now.
Yeah.
As well. And we also still have that tornado warning that's over here to the east. The tornado warning storm here. So this is moving out of severe in Jefferson counties. The actual cell that is the reason why the tornado warning was issued is now right here. It's moving over 321 near 73 and I-40 near Cosby Elementary School. It's going to be crossing over I-40. And if you live near Davis School, Ben Hill School, Middle Fork School, Grassy Fork Elementary, just to the north of Hartford or over near Del Rio, you've got the core of those strongest storms that are about to move into your area. This is the tornado warned storm that we were monitoring earlier. Let's check out our CC correlation coefficient. Not seeing anything that's immediately grabbing my attention. Let me check right here real quick. excuse me, we have, sometimes when we're doing this live, folks, we also have to do some kind of analysis at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some damage from that wind as it moves through there. Not maybe a tornado necessarily, but straight line winds. About to cross over I-40 in Cott County right now to the north of Hartford, south of Newport, right near the Foothills Parkway, heading toward Ben Hill School and Davis School. This is the only tornado warning that we still have in effect for our area. We still have a severe thunderstorm warning with a weakening line that is in Greene County up here, still a wind damage threat, but this one also at one point did have confirmed tornado warning on it when it was back near Thornhill and Bean Station in northern Granger County. And I am really concerned about this right here right now along the river in eastern Knox County here, near the Kimberlin Heights area, near Riverdale School.
There's some high winds showing up.
High winds.
That's at Johnson University too, Kimberlin Heights. Yeah, it says Johnson Bible College, but that's old. It's Johnson University and Kimberlin Heights. Take cover.
Please.
From Johnson right along the river, right there.
Kodak again, just to the south of I-40. If you're anywhere in that area, you need to take shelter. These are very strong winds that are about to head into your area right now, even if there's not rain. That's the other key thing here is I think these are just out ahead of the actual rain itself. So that's just something to keep in mind here. You could have some very strong winds coming through even without any kind of rain moving into your area. So if you're in the locations that, and in Cott County, by the way, we also could be having quarter size or larger hail. If you are in that area, in East Knox County, in Kodak, in Sevier County here, that's an area we're watching right now with very strong wind velocities showing up right along the county line at this point, Todd. Yeah, exactly. Strong winds confirmed Chestnut Hill to Splendor Oaks. $half size hail passing through there. And Cassie, if you don't mind, and we'll show this in a minute, maybe we'll go to our water view and maybe do a velocity replay from back to this afternoon. One of the things I wanted to show, to reiterate, and we did this on the wider view a moment ago as well, but this is the same cell that's been tracking all the way from parts of Kentucky. Yeah, that's fine. And all the way from Kentucky through the region. But one of the things I just read, or just getting some more information again, we wanted to pass along that we are getting reports, and thank you, when it went into Morgan County, the tornado warning that entered in from Middle Tennessee, been tracking it right there, Deer Lodge, getting reports that there are some damage to homes. Morgan County Sheriff's Office is trying to reach people in their homes, and we don't have much more information than that we can pass along right now, but we have gotten reports of some damage to some homes in Deer Lodge, maybe in the Sunbright area, and we don't know how significant that is right now, but we have folks checking that out. And so we're passing that on to you, and we're hoping for the best because there apparently was some damage with that tornado. It was increasing, it was intensifying as it crossed over from southern Fentress County, coming in from Middle Tennessee, and it continued to go ahead, Cass. It continued to track. There it is right there. See, it hit the high terrain, may have been briefly disrupted, came across from Anderson County, Knox County, and continued to track. There it is we were talking about at the 407 exit and crossing over Highway 66 and the Parkway. And now, look at that, still tracking near Hartford. Still has been holding together all the way northwest of Nashville near Clarksville and up into Kentucky. That same tornadic storm tracking basically all the way across Middle Tennessee and all the way through East Tennessee. Right there, the same core structure of that storm. So the point I wanted to make with that's impressive, but what I wanted to talk about was in Deer Lodge in Morgan County, we may have had some areas hard hit. And getting some information that some folks, the homes were damaged, and so we're going to continue to give you more information on that. But certainly thoughts and prayers with folks in Deer Lodge, Sunbright, and parts of Morgan County who may have been impacted by this tornadic storm as it moved through. And we're still seeing the impacts with very heavy rainfall. Cassie just showed you anywhere from 1.5 inches to over 3 inches of rain now, so there could be some flooding issues. There's the flood advisory. Where does that go, like 1 or 2 a.m. or something like that? I'm just totally guessing, but probably just after midnight. Speaking of which, we have a severe thunderstorm watch. 1:15. We have a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight, but the threat for severe weather will be ending, should be within the, good, and they've already trimmed it back. Excuse me, yes, they have. They have trimmed it back,
Yeah, go ahead, Cass. Yeah.
It looks like they have gone ahead and taken out some of our western counties at this point. Areas from, so now it just includes Loudoun, Blount, Knox, Sevier. That was Todd drinking.
Local restaurant serves chicken. It's all good, Cass. Go ahead.
He was sucking on the cup. So everybody at home knows what that was.
I'm thirsty.
Severe
Go ahead.
thunderstorm watch is Loudoun County.
Mike's still hot.
Blunt,
Go ahead.
severe. Knox, I already said that. Sorry. Granger, Hamlin, Jefferson, Cock, Greene, and Hawkins County. You are still included in the severe thunderstorm watch. This technically goes until midnight. Once we get this final line through here, we'll likely see more of this trimmed off as well. May not stick around until midnight. The bottom line is that this is the area where we still have the threat for seeing those strong to possibly severe storms. This is the line. You can see it still extends back from near the Knoxville area back down toward the south and the west, through western Knox County into southern Anderson County and over into Roane County now near the Harriman. Wow, near the Harriman area. Wow, that is a photo. We just got a photo. We can't show it on air right now because we're not that quick. Sugarwood Drive in Kodak 25 minutes ago. Probably $50 size hail. It looks like moving through.
Yeah, it does.
Is that a quarter?
That
looks like it might be a $50.
actually, that's bigger than
that
$50.
might be ping pong.
Let's see, $50. That's
Yeah,
ping pong.
That could be ping pong ball size hail about 25 minutes
ping
ago.
pong or golf ball, but close to it.
Yeah, so we still have very heavy rain though along I-40 east Knox County into Sevier County, south of I-40 in Jefferson County, and then into Cott County. This is where we still have the very last bit of that original cell now moving into the mountains there to the east of the Hartford area near New Prospect School. This is the tail end of the area that we've been watching, but up near the Kodak area, again, very strong winds, maybe some rotation showing up right along when it crossed the county line into the Kodak area right there. That's something we are going to need to look back on and keep an eye on that there. Look at that potential rotation right there. It's about to move into the Kodak School. It does look like it's weakening, but it is about to cross over Winfield-Dunn Parkway again, 66. You are about to see the winds pick up in that area one more time. And again, just in general, now the next threat is going to be the threat for flooding. We do have some reports of damage from around our area that we are currently checking out. We also have about 2,000 customers without power from Knox County or Knoxville Utilities Board. But we do have other power outages being reported in and around our area this evening up into Morgan County right now. I'm seeing just over 900 customers without power from Plateau Electric Co-op. I'm also seeing power outages up in Granger County right now, up in the Powell Valley Electric Co-op, reporting almost 500 customers without power up in that area. Claiborne County reporting just over 200 customers without power. That's Mike. I can hear you whispering. And about 200 customers without power right now from Volunteer Electric in Fentress County. So we are seeing power outages, potentially some damage in some of these areas. In all seriousness, folks, it has been a rough night for some of your neighbors. So this is something, I apologize for any of the programming that we covered up tonight. Hopefully we were able to make a difference with some folks being able to take shelter in time this evening before these strong storms move through. The last little bit of that initial cell that caused all of this trouble is just now moving into the mountains here to the east of Hartford, east of I-40 in Cott County. It's going to be moving over the mountains there and into North Carolina and outside of our coverage area, but we still have strong winds and very heavy rain in this band that extends from over in Roane County up through Knoxville, over to the east through Kodak and down into Hartford. I want to point out something about those winds near the Kodak area that I was pointing out. Look at all the lightning that's starting to pop up in this area again. And there's the Ville starting to pick up again as well. So this line, there's what could have produced maybe ping pong ball size hail a little while ago. That first cell moved out, and now we've got kind of some secondary strengthening there of that little cell. That's the same velocity that I've been watching also for potential damage, moving along Winfield-Dunn Parkway to the south of exit 407 right now in the Kodak area. Douglas Dam Road, you may have had some damage earlier from when the first cell moved through, and you might have damaging winds coming back into your area once again. As we also mentioned, we do have that flood advisory that extends for all of the areas that you see shaded in that light green right there. That means that isolated flooding, minor flooding of low-lying and poor drainage areas is occurring. So again, please do not go out on the roads if you do not have to. We do appreciate any damage reports that you are able to safely pass along to us to confirm that what we've been seeing on this radar is actually happening on the ground. So it looks like at this point that tornado warning that is in Cott County is likely going to be allowed to expire coming up at 10:30 here. The threat has now moved over to the east here near Grassy Fork Elementary School. That's something that we're watching still as that cell is moving over to the eastern portions of Cott County at this hour. Still got a lot of wind near the Kodak area, actually right along Winfield-Dunn Parkway, Henry Cross roads. This is the cell that I just keeps getting my attention. This is an area that we're watching for potential wind gusts of 55, 60, 65 miles per hour right there, crossing over the Winfield-Dunn Parkway, kind of following along Douglas Dam Road right now. And that is going to continue over to the east, again onto the other side of Douglas Dam Road, crossing over. So that's another area of strong to possibly damaging winds right now, crossing the parkway that's heading over toward Douglas Dam Road, toward the eastern side of Sevier County at this point.
All right, Cassie, thank you so much. Yes, the lingering impacts of the storms, and yeah, Katie Inman and I'm going to bring Katie in a moment because just we were discussing about some of the damage reports that continues to come in, and yeah, we've got some crews that are being dispersed to cover some of this damage, and we'll be showing you more of that in just a moment. But Cassie, thank you for covering that and talking about the impacts that still remains. The tornado warning till 10:30. Hopefully that's 6 minutes away and it's almost into the mountains, but we have the lingering impacts of severe weather and heavy rainfall with a lot of instability that continues. And so you can see this batch of rain that's still in Roane County, Anderson County, Knox, working its way right into northern Sevier and southern Jefferson County and on into Cott County with still that batch of severe weather. And once again, if you're just tuning in late, this is the same severe tornado warning, I should say, same tornadic thunderstorm that started way back up in Kentucky, northwest of Nashville, just northwest of Clarksville, looks like. It made it all the way through Middle Tennessee. It made it all the way through East Tennessee the whole time. And basically kept its core structure. So you don't see that very often at all for a tornadic storm. And basically the structure of that storm to stay that strong all the way through basically, Middle and East Tennessee and certainly a half a state, if you will, or more. So that's what we're looking at. But after 10:30, hopefully we'll be able to say that was the last warning as far as tornado warning. We still have instability with lightning. Cassie was talking about that. And we still have those high potentially damaging winds, and we still have the threat for heavy rainfall and possible flooding. But once we get between now and closer to midnight and thereafter, the threat for severe weather is going to be ending, and the rest of the night is going to be improving. But that's the replay from just the last hour. Again, very intense rainfall. Again, we have had reports of damage. We're going to have continuing coverage from crews that are out in the field working on that, including places like Deer Lodge in Morgan County, Fountain City in North Knox County, among other places that have been impacted and pretty strongly by some of these storms. We're talking about some damaging winds and some people also being impacted by these storms. So again, this is unfortunately, when you're tracking the storms, you want everybody to be safe and taken care of, and you want to get in your safe place, and you hope there's not much damage. But unfortunately, sometimes once the storms move through and afterwards, then the reports start coming in, and you say, well, how bad was it? And then you start hearing this report, et cetera. So we're still in the mode of active weather and ongoing severe weather in some areas, certainly, and some potential for flooding. But we're starting to get more of those reports coming in, and we're certainly taking those into account and are going to be bringing you the very latest on that as we go in time. Katie Inman is standing by on the news desk. Katie, let's bring you into the conversation because you've been seeing and hearing reports and gathering some information as well. And tell us a little bit about what you've seen and heard as we've gone through this evening, Katie.
Yeah, Todd. So we have been working very hard in the newsroom, making calls to different counties across East Tennessee, checking in on the storm damage that they have seen so far. And we made multiple calls to multiple counties. I will say Morgan County, we talked to the dispatch there. They are getting so many calls right now that they were not even able to tell us specific roads or areas or details as of yet because they are so busy. And we totally understand that. I will say anecdotally, we are seeing reports from viewers coming in on social media and then also through a live stream of a basketball game tonight over in Morgan County. We were seeing that people there at that basketball game were evacuated out into the hallway at the school. And also, I have also heard some reports of of course, as Todd has been mentioning, different sheriff's deputies in Morgan County trying to get to people possibly trapped by the storm. And we do know from dispatch that there are trees and power lines down. Those are things that we have confirmed. And then also we heard back from the Tennessee Highway Patrol letting us know that they are responding to Morgan County as well to assist with the volume of calls and things that they need help with out there as well. So those are things that we know that are confirmed. I also talked on the phone to the mayor in Morgan County, Mayor Langley. I got on the phone with him as he was out driving and surveying areas, surveying the roads, and he said at the time on the phone that he wasn't comfortable relaying any specific details quite yet because he wanted to see it for himself first too, but we will follow back up with him once he has been out in his county, been able to talk to people who live there and see that damage, and of course we will continue to keep you updated. Also, we have sent a crew out to Fountain City because there is a report of a tree on a church in Fountain City Church to be exact. And we have Avery Gingrich out there as well as our videographer, Aaron Palmer. They are talking with church staff members, getting a view of that large tree that has fallen on that building. And we also know that that building is undergoing renovations at this time as well. So we have seen your reports, and thank you so much for sending those reports in to us from all over the place, everywhere from Tazewell to Fountain City to Halls to Morgan County. We have gotten Ring doorbell video, and we have seen the heavy rains, the hail, and we also know that people are listening to our great meteorologists. We've also seen reports on social media of people taking cover, getting in those bathtubs, going to their basements, and just being safe. So as we continue to watch this weather pattern move through, you know that our meteorologists are going to continue to keep you updated. But as it stands right now, let's see, 10:30 tonight, we know that Morgan County is seeing some significant damage. And Cassie Nall's giving me the signal now, so we're going to go ahead and send it back over to her. Hey, Cassie.
Hey there, Katie. Yes, continuing your conversation about Morgan County. We know that that area was very hard hit earlier tonight by the storms that came through the area that did end up impacting the city of Sunbright, areas just to the south of there in Deer Lodge, as well as near the Lansing area and just to the north of the Wartburg area. We are still working to find out information and get confirmation of some of the damage reports that are in that area, but we are hearing that some homes may have been damaged. At one point we were hearing that the sheriff may have been working to help people who were trapped in their homes, and again, that's up in Morgan County, so we're working to get additional information from near the Sunbright area, which, if you'll remember, just under a year ago was hit by a tornado. Again, almost a year after they were previously hit by a tornado. So unfortunately, this area has been impacted multiple times by strong to severe storms, and tonight, again, something will continue to follow there. We also have damage reported out in Knoxville. And where? Oh, okay. So Avery, that Katie was just referring to, our reporter, he's out there in Fountain City at a church where a tree possibly damaged that building. So Avery, if you can hear me right now, let us know what you're seeing out there. What's going on out in Fountain City?
Hey, Cassie. I'm here at Fountain City Church with Chaz Gooden, Director of Young Adults Programs. Chaz, you guys had a little bit of a surprise tonight, right?
Yes, we're down there having our weekly Bible study in the basement, and we heard some crazy noises going on, and we came up and found the surprise in the hallway that a tree had fallen on our building. So,
Gotcha. Talk to me a little bit about your night from the beginning. When you guys came here, did you have any inclination that, like, hey, you're going to have some rain, we might get wet?
Yeah, we did not check the weather before we came out tonight, but we all got an Amber Alert sitting down there, so those things still work. They're effective. Everybody got it. And we realized there was a tornado watch, and we heard a lot of wind, rain start to come in, and then the big bang with the tree falling on the side of the building. So,
and hopefully we'll be able to show our audience in just a little bit. But just over our shoulders is some of that damage. Would you mind describing for me what is around the corner?
Yeah, so there's a tree just across the street at the Gresham Middle School, and it looks like it fell this way and hit the power lines and just took him with it. And there's just one little branch that made a hole in the side over there. So not too awful bad. Could have been worse, but yeah.
Anything like that ever happened here before?
No, just other little leaks in places. We're trying to find all the little leaks in the church and stuff, but nothing quite like that's happened. So.
To that point over here, on the far wall, we do have a little bit of water damage too, right?
Yeah, there seems to be water that just found its way in. It's a building that's been here a long time. We're trying to find those things, identify them, and make repairs where we need to. And so just finding those places. I'm sure it's weather related, but tonight it was just the tree.
So you did mention you guys were in the basement doing Bible study, right? And then you guys got a bunch of Amber Alerts. I'm going to guess like at least a dozen phones went off. So I just want to show everybody what was going on in that basement. We've got some fans over here. If here, it'll go pan over here. Guys, so that was kind of scary, right? How you feeling now? Everybody feeling good? Good to hear, guys. So, Chaz, last question for you. What is the plan for the rest of the night?
Well, we've been hanging out here, just trying to make sure there's no major water leaks, and our pastors came down and checked out the damage and stuff. So we have some guys coming out, think they can fix it, and we'll just be hanging out, trying to make sure everybody's good, and then probably go on home. So,
anything you want to say to folks who might come to the church who are maybe just watching this right now?
Yeah, this place is wonderful. It's full of people that care about it. We're trying to actually raise money to renovate a lot of places in the church, and this is just what you get sometimes with an older building. There's going to be leaks and things like that, but it's a wonderful place to check out, and we've got a great community here, and would love for anybody to come check out Fountain City Church.
Thank you for your time. Cassie, Katie, everybody, back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Avery. We appreciate the reports there, and you do have fans. All right, let's talk about the radar for what we're seeing. First of all, again, a dull roar on our roof because it is absolutely pouring here once again in North Knoxville. But this is the back edge of the line of very heavy rain. So once this moves through the Knoxville area, we should start to see things tapering off in our area. Still some rumbles of thunder and lightning out there. And look at what's going on over here, over in Sevier County. This is the same area that I was monitoring a little bit ago that was possibly producing maybe some strong winds as it moved on through. Now over to the east, it once again, there we go. We were talking about the vertically integrated liquids strengthening again near the Kodak area a few minutes ago. Here we go. Wouldn't be surprised if we get some more small hail popping up right along the county line of northern Sevier, southern Jefferson, about to move into the Chestnut Hill Elementary School area. If you are in this area, please stay indoors. Once again, stay away from the doors and the windows. You've got very strong gusty winds moving into your area, and you have the potential for some hail to be coming on top of everything else you're already dealing with in that area. At this time, there are no warnings in effect for any part of our viewing area. So that is the positive news right now, that all storms that we have right now are below severe limits. That doesn't mean that they won't be impactful. So that's why in that area I was just mentioning near Chestnut Hill, you still need to be in your safe place away from doors and windows. We also still have severe thunderstorm watch in effect for just a couple of our counties at this point. The Storm Prediction Center continuing to trim away. Blunt, Sevier, Cott, Greene, and Jefferson counties are now the only ones included in the severe thunderstorm watch. This is still in effect until midnight. We'll likely see the rest of these trimmed away shortly here. So this is the good news. The overall threat for severe weather is dying down. We no longer have any warnings in effect for our viewing area. That warning that keeps popping up is in North Carolina. However, we still have very heavy rain, the potential for lightning, and the potential for flooding happening around our area. This is also giving folks time to send us photos from around the area. And in fact, I'm working to get a photo in of some hail from the Newport area. Not 100% sure about the size of it, but I'm thinking it could possibly be maybe golf ball to ping pong ball, maybe even slightly larger. It's also very spiky.
It is spiked hail, which tells you got a lot of turbulence going on in the storm cast, and it looks like it's no, I totally agree. It looks like it's anywhere from potentially $50 size to over ping pong ball size hail size, and even maybe racquetball size. That's kind of what it looks like. When a lot of times it's in a person's hand. Cassie, I'll do this radar and I'll let you work on that because it's pretty impressive. 3 different large hailstones, and if we ever have hail reports, if you can put a coin in your hand beside the hailstone, It's perfect because everybody's hands are different sizes, different shapes, etc. So a coin is something that we can all relate to and equally measure a hailstone. So yeah, Cassie's working on that. Okay, as Cassie just said, a little bit of good news. No more severe thunderstorm warnings, but we still do have impactful storms. Matter of fact, still a lot of lightning, and this is some strong winds. Could still see some high winds and hail coming in from Jefferson County into Sevier and Cocke counties. As Cassie just showed you a moment ago, Chestnut Hill area and back near and just south of Newport. And this photo we just got from the potentially, that large hail that did fall, excuse me, not potential, actual large hail, came in just south of Newport near that area. So that's what we're seeing right now. And again, that severe thunderstorm warning is over in North Carolina, and except that's a new one that just popped up. Is that right? National Weather Service in Morristown, I think, has issued that.
Can you pull up there we go.
Issued that again.
There you go. New severe thunderstorm warning.
Turn that warning back on, and
there you go.
That's a brand new one. So, right on cue. It's okay because it is intense, and that probably warrants it because it is in place until 11:15. It still has potential for damage winds, very heavy rainfall, lots of lightning. Cocke, Jefferson, Severe. So we have a severe thunderstorm watch. Yeah, right on cue.
This is 60-mile-per-hour winds, half-dollar size hail possible. This is the cell that has been being a pain.
Very large hail. Not just quarter size, which is severe, 1 inch in diameter, half-dollar size hail. So yeah, we're getting on up past 1 1/4, 1.5 inches in diameter, and so large hail and damage of winds still ongoing. The severe threat not quite out of the woods yet, but it's almost there. But again, the severe thunderstorm watch is in place until midnight, and so that instability is still just lingering. And these are areas that have not gotten hit yet. So you've been seeing us cover the storms all afternoon, all evening long for the Plateau in Kentucky, and from Knoxville areas to the south and east, you were still waiting on it, and some areas are still waiting on it to the south in southern Blount and Loudoun counties, but now you're seeing those stronger storms. So the atmosphere still is unstable for your area, and you're seeing the torrential rainfall, the frequent lightning, the large hail, and the high winds. Now, thankfully, no tornado warnings in place, but still, the high winds and the very heavy rainfall and potentially the large hail is enough. Lingering flood advisory will still be in place, even though when the rain stops, we still can have some flooding. And again, that's the time of update, but it goes until 1:15 a.m., the flood advisory, and that will continue from near Oak Ridge, near Clinton. There you go, Cassie. I'll let you talk about that. That's the Cocke County hail. Look at that size.
Yeah, check that out. Cocke County. We did have very large hail reported up in that area. This is from near Newport. And as Todd was mentioning earlier, you see all the spikes that are around that hail. It's not perfectly round. That gives you an idea of the turbulence that was in the updraft. First of all, that updraft had to be strong enough to hold the weight of those hailstones way up in the atmosphere there. And then because the updraft was so strong, it was crashing the hailstones together, and you end up with those spikes on the sides of it as the hailstones start to stick together right there. So very, very impressive hail out of the Newport area. Again, not entirely sure exactly how large that is. We would have needed it measured with a standard object, because if I held those hailstones, they look a lot bigger than if Todd held those hailstones. So just to give you an idea though, this is probably golf ball, ping pong ball size hail, maybe as Todd mentioned, maybe even slightly larger than that. So we're talking 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches in diameter. Yeah. Large spiky hailstones falling in the Newport area from earlier this evening.
And it's a little bit translucent. Look at that. You can see the core of initial formation, and then it got all spiky and just added the moisture, just kind of going through, just rigmaroling up through the updraft. Also, you can see the core where it's initially smooth and it got jagged and rough. Look at that one. That's just kind of the odd shapes, just kind of the chunks of ice. But Cassie, you're exactly right. That spike tail indicative of the turbulence going on. So thank you for sharing that with us, Tim Tallman. Hopefully I got your name right. And from Cocke County hail. And that's just another example of the intensity of these storms as they've tracked through, and certainly packing a punch. And matter of fact, what was impressive is it was basically a lot of the damage was from that one main storm. that tracked through there. Now, there were certainly other storms that went through the Lakeway area, Morristown, and we saw Thornhill, Bean Station, and again, that had some impactful winds, certainly. For you in Kentucky, you've had impactful storms early this morning and most of this evening, so it has been pretty widespread, but some of that one storm really responsible for a lot of the particularly large hail that we've seen that tracked across, and unfortunately now, and we're gathering reports coming in with this same tornadic storm that has impacted many areas, including back up here. And Cassie talked about this a moment ago, and Katie also shared this with us, from Sunbright to Deer Lodge, Lansing, as the storm intensified coming into Fentress County and northern Cumberland into Morgan County, it packed a punch. And so unfortunately it's done quite a bit of damage. And we do have more information coming on that from crews, and we'll bring you the very latest. And again, as it tracked, we had the $half size hail report coming in to the Clinton area, and also the very impressive lightning, very heavy rainfall rates, and with the large hail, more of the damage and winds, as Avery was reporting in Fountain City Church. And as you go up from Gresham, Hotel Road, and continuing in portions of Fountain City, just off Broadway, and just past Fountain City Lake, the duck pond, that's what we saw with the damage there in the Fountain City area. So that's the same core of that storm that continued to track east, and you can see it's still producing the lightning and what we call back building or training. It's just feeding that instability axis. Again, the back edge is actually moving, but within this line, we're still seeing some of that instability in that back building from Kodak near Dandridge and feeding on south of Newport and just near Hartford over to Cosby in much of Cott County. Now, if you're watching us from Gatlinburg, get an isolated shower. If you're watching us from, Maryville, you've seen these storms well. You have not been impacted as much, or tonight or earlier. And Greenback, these storms still could impact your area, but thankfully, the overall severe threat for most areas that were impacted by the storms earlier is lessening. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning till 11:15 for Jefferson, Cocke, and Sevier counties, as that storm continues to track on to the east-southeast. And notice, again, into North Carolina, that's where that storm is continuing to track. So basically, from I-40, coming out of North Carolina and continuing over into Haywood County and other parts of western North Carolina, and for areas to our east. So again, these storms still packing a punch, still some very heavy rainfall. Again, not really, if you're in the path of these storms, not really recommend to get out and drive, because a lot of water on the roadways. We've seen rainfall amounts from earlier 1 to 2 inches in a short period of time, but Doppler radar was estimating rainfall amounts in excess of 2 to 3 inches plus in a short period of time. So some very heavy rainfall rates, especially from Jefferson County, Dandridge, Kodak, and northeast of Sevierville and into Cott County. You're seeing some very heavy rainfall. Now, it is going to be slowly but surely moving out in time, but it could deposit 1, 2, maybe 3 inches of rain in a short period of time, and that could lead to some flash flooding. So make sure, if you don't want to drive in that, you want to turn around, avoid flooded roadways. If you live in a flood-prone area in general, near a creek or stream or something, just pay attention to it and be mindful, stay alert, stay weather alert. That heavy rainfall could lead to a little bit of, we talk about flash flooding, that's what happens quickly and then also recedes pretty quickly. So hopefully, as these storms continue to slowly wind down later on tonight, we'll see that taking place, and hopefully that's what's starting to take place back upstream. But we have a flood advisory, including for Knoxville and Fountain City back into Anderson County, and for areas east until 1:15. Even after the rain slowly lets up, there's still going to be some residual flooding. So avoid flooded roadways if you're traveling tonight or early in the morning. And again, that's that one severe storm that we still have going on right now until 11:15. And there's a check of the velocities where you see the brighter blues and some of those lighter greens. That's where some of those higher winds. Overall, not the same intensity of the storms from some of the tornado warnings that we were tracking. We have multiple tornado warnings this evening. Again, is it going on 6 hours now, Cass? Something like that, but it's going
yes.
long
that we've
time
been
ago.
tracking those storms?
Yeah.
That cell?
Yeah.
The original cell? Yes, that was about 4:30, 5 o'clock.
About 4:30 to 5 o'clock. So there you go. Coming up on, over right
It has
around
officially
6 hours.
passed into North Carolina, but the lingering line is still a problem across our area.
Exactly. The lingering line back to our
There's
region.
the hail.
Yeah, and still the hail. And Cassie just showed that hail photo that was near just south of Newport. that, I mean, it was at least ping pong ball size and larger golf, but maybe in racquetball size. Hell, I don't know if it was tennis ball. Again, we have to have a coin to measure that, probably just under that. But it was pretty large hail. And we have half-dollar size hail that's still potentially with that severe thunderstorm warning until 11:15. That does include Cocke and parts of Sevier and up into Jefferson County. So we're still looking at this axis near Newport to Hartford, and again along Interstate 40, Highway 73, and continuing from Highway 321 into portions of Cocke County. That's what we're looking at, with still some hail possible that's impacting some of these areas, and again some heavy rainfall as well. So again, avoid the flooded waters, flooded roadways if that develops, and certainly want you to stay safe. We're 12 minutes away from 11 o'clock. We're going to have a full update coming up on Channel 10 right here at 11 o'clock. We're going to bring you the very latest. Again, the one thing I want to stress too is even after these storms move through, they have done a number in some areas. There is damage that has occurred. And so we're going to bring you the very latest on that. Katie Emmons standing by. John Becker will join us. We have crews out and about that will be talking about that. So all the very latest coming up at the top of the hour. Cassie and I are still going to be here and continue to bring you the coverage until the storm threat continues to move out. But we'll have our full newscast coming up in just moments. So certainly stay tuned for that and for the very latest. And again,
we've got a flash flood warning, Todd.
Okay, and it's about
'Cause
time
we're
for
not
another
done
warning.
yet.
You know, we go a little bit and flash flood warning. Okay, I'll let you talk about that right there,
Okay,
Cass.
so let me go ahead and show you this one. This is now a flash flood warning for parts of Knox, Jefferson, and Sevier counties. It's kind of in the similar area to where the flood advisory has been. And even though the rain is coming to an end in these areas, this is what Todd was just saying, the water is still going to run off and flooding is still going to be a problem. Not to mention it's still raining near Kodak and over to the Dandridge area. So this flash flood warning is going to be in effect until 3 a.m. So that gives you an idea of just how long the National Weather Service thinks we're going to be seeing impacts from this. A flash flood warning is issued when flash flooding, which means it's happening quickly, is either imminent or occurring. These are the areas that have seen anywhere from 1.5 to 3 inches of rain in just the last 2 hours. Knox County has several reports of flooding in this portion of the county. We'll try to get to the bottom of exactly where that's happening around our area right now. But if you were considering getting out on the roads, just don't. Between the potential of the debris from down trees and power lines and now the potential for flooding, we definitely want to stay at home in our safe spaces, not necessarily in your safe place, but just in your comfy, cozy home where you don't have to be out on the roads and dealing with trying to find floodwaters in the dark. So again, this is a flash flood warning in effect for Jefferson, Knox, and Sevier counties. The area is shaded in the green polygon right there until 3 a.m. Flash flooding occurs quickly. The water rises very, very rapidly, and then it tends to also go away rapidly. Also with flash flooding, though, because it's happening so quickly, we have a lot of hills in this part of the country, and that means that water is just rushing down them, so it often can be turbulent and possibly causing some damage. It does not take a lot of water to sweep you off of your feet. I believe it's 6 inches of water can sweep a human off their feet, and up to a foot of water can cause your car to float. So just do not drive through the flood water. Do not walk through the flood water. You never know the state of the road beneath that water, no matter how many times you've driven it. And again, it's dark outside, so it's even harder to see it. Please do not go out on the roads right now. Just stay home at this point. It's still raining very heavily. Now, though, we're starting to see the rain in areas that we haven't. So down in South Knox County, down into Blount County, you kind of got missed by a lot of this in Blount County, and now you're about to get a band of heavy rain, some gusty winds. Loudoun County, you're also seeing some of that heavy rain. That's also going to shift east into the rest of Blount County. Sevier County, unfortunately, you do have more rain on the way. This time it's going to cover Sevierville and areas south of there into Pigeon Forge. And then we also still have more of that very heavy rain. This is what Todd was mentioning earlier too, the training effect. We call it that because it's multiple cells moving like cars on a track, like a train track, across the same areas repeatedly. And that's also how you have a growing flood threat, is because it's raining heavily in the same areas for a long period of time. We're seeing that from Kodak over to Dandridge to Newport to Del Rio. Also still got some very strong winds. All those bright reds that you see periodically in there, those are patches of strong to possibly damaging winds. That's why there's still a severe thunderstorm warning in these areas. And where you see the yellows, the oranges, and the reds, that's where we could also be seeing, again, up to quarter-size hail in these areas, like near Newport, where we previously had those spiky hailstones reported that were possibly up to the size of a ping pong or golf ball, which is about 1.5 inches to 1.75 inches in diameter. That's huge. That can cause a lot of damage. So again, we're not quite done just yet. Our reporter Avery Gingrich, oh my gosh, I can't pronounce his last name. Gingrich.
It's been a long day. You're good.
Avery Gingrich is out in Fountain City. We'll hear more from him coming up at 11 p.m. with a church that had a tree fall on the building. We also are working to gather additional information out of Morgan County. If you'll remember, last year in early March, Morgan County near the Sunbright area was impacted by a tornado. In 2023, in March, early March, Sunbright was impacted by a tornado. And here we are for the third year in a row, a potential tornado moving through the Sunbright area, homes potentially damaged, folks needing to be rescued.
Yeah.
We're working to gather additional information from up in that area, and we will bring that to you as soon as we have that information. Otherwise, we'll just continue to monitor these storms as they're moving across our area. Again, 2 warnings currently in effect. One is a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Jefferson, Sevier, and Cocke counties. That's in effect until 11:15, so we still have about another 20 minutes on that warning. And that's for the potential of quarter-size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds along that whole line that's moving there from Dandridge over to the Newport and Hartford areas. And then we also have a flash flood warning due to flash flooding that is either imminent or occurring in parts of Knox County, northern Sevier County, and southern portions of Jefferson County along the same line where the severe thunderstorm warning currently is as well. Okay, we're hearing reports of if you can hear me back in the back, we might need to check this out. Washington Pike at Millertown Pike in East Knoxville, hearing reports of possibly 3 inches of water running over the road.
Yes, Josh Marler, former Channel 10er.
There you go, Josh Marler. If you're watching, hi. Thank you very much for the report out there.
Spotter. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, so that's why we don't want folks out on the roads right now, because that would be hard to see if you're not familiar with that area and you're not paying very close attention. So again, please don't go out on the roads tonight if you do not have to go out on the roads.
Yeah, and now one side note, with all this heavy rain, perhaps now it's a good time to interject that we're in a significant drought, and so some of the rain could actually, in time, could be for good, and et cetera, but that's for another day. Cassie, why don't we do this, and we got a few moments. Let's kind of look ahead. We're going to look ahead to maybe do some forecasting. We'll kind of
we
reset.
Want to know what's happening tomorrow?
Yeah, let's look. We'll do a little bit of our Friday weekend forecast. And
let's do that. Okay, so first.
Switch. I'm going to go to the wall. I'll let you kind of drive that.
So
and we'll together go through our forecast and talk about what we're expecting after tonight's storms and then go for it. I'll let you start, Cass. Go ahead.
So first, we still have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. It's technically in effect until midnight. This gets trimmed away as the threats go away. So since we still have that severe thunderstorm warning until at least 11:15, we're probably going to still see this in effect for at least that amount of time. So that means that while the severe weather threat is decreasing, it's not over just yet for tonight. But we are not expecting any additional storms overnight. So once we get done with this round, we'll see some lingering showers, maybe some occasionally breezy winds here and there as the front passes through the area. But we will see things calming down tonight. If we look at our futurecast, this may not be, I haven't looked at this in hours, but it may not be starting correctly. Nope, it's a little overdone. But the general gist of it is there. Here we go, clearing out into tomorrow morning. We might start the day with some low clouds and some lingering fog and moisture, but look at this. Here's 10 a.m. and we have sunshine across the area. It's going to be cooler tomorrow because the front is now down to our south. Later in the day, so a lot of the day Friday may actually end up being dry. So for those of you who are like, I need to get outside, you can do it tomorrow during the daylight hours. Later tomorrow night, though, we do have the potential for additional moisture to come back to the north. I'll fast forward through this. So here we go. Chance of rain, possibly late Friday night, developing across the area as the front kind of lifts back to the north again. So let me show you your temperature trend here real quick too. Because this is hey, how about the 7-day? Haven't looked at that.
Yeah, we're going to get that. Yeah, let's go.
Hours.
We'll kind of walk through and
there you go.
Cass, thank you so much. Let's talk about, I'll interject right here at some too, but as Cassie was talking about, you know what, finally we'll be clearing, cooler and drier tomorrow near 60. We've had 70-degree temperatures every day this week so far. Our fourth one for February, which is the 6th warmest start to February on record, so there's that, and then that led to those storms we saw today. Now, as Cassie was talking about, that front that's going through tonight and tomorrow morning comes back as a warm front Friday night, Saturday morning. That's where We may have a brief chance for some spotty showers. Most of Saturday is partly cloudy, warm and breezy in the lower 70s. Now, another cold front moves in. Again, not expecting severe weather, but Saturday night, Sunday morning, some more showers. Notice Sunday a drop off of about 15 degrees from Saturday to Sunday. Now, let's enjoy a weekend. We're going to get a little cooler. Next week, there's a strong signal in the atmosphere of heavy rainfall. So we got severe weather tonight. We've had spring-like warmth, and what a change from January to February. We need some time to hopefully dry out a little bit. We are in a significant drought, so some of this rain is going to be good in time, but too much all at once is obviously not good. But we're going to have to really watch next week. Looks like a pattern that's going to be shaping up to be heavy rain at times. Some soaking rains could be excessive, and we could see waves of heavy rainfall that could lead to flooding. So again, models have been strongly hinting at that. We get cooler near 50 degrees Tuesday with some soaking heavy rains, and we could see some stronger storms and heavy rainfall actually. We'll have to watch that later next week. So just wanted to show you that we get a dry, cool day tomorrow. That's good news. Saturday's looking good. Then we're talking about the rain showers that will be moving in, and we'll have to watch that into next week. All right. That'll do it for our weather coverage right now. John Becker, KDM, and standing by on the news desk. News continues right here on Channel 10.